Pribula has yet to throw. Stretching the field. He's got a man. Complete. End zone. Speedy. Marquise Johnson. And that's a memorable first for Beau Pribula. Pump fake. He's got it clearing. Pribula. The wheels. Beau knows. Touchdowns.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, that's what it sounded like last night on SEC Network as the Missouri Tigers take on the Bears from Central Arkansas and absolutely whooped their behinds all night long.
Bruce D. Bear had to cry all the way back to Central Arkansas.
I will say, that receiver from Central Arkansas is actually good. That kid can play, so I'll give credit where it's due, but so can the Missouri Tigers, specifically Beau Pribula. Hey, man, that was impressive. I don't care who the opponent is. He put up more than 280 yards through the air, rushed for 65 yards on the ground, 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns, no picks. Alex, here's the entire list of SEC quarterbacks in the last 5 years to do exactly that in a game. Jaden Daniels did it twice. Matt Corral did it twice. Now Beau Pribula did it last night, and that is the end of the list. Other guys in the Power 5 that have accomplished that feat. Haynes King from Georgia Tech. You guys remember him?
Solid.
I really liked him.
Isn't he still there?
I don't think so. I'd have to check. I'm not positive on that. I think he's been in college football for
I'll
like
do the
100
quick
years.
Google.
So it's possible, I suppose.
I thought he was
Diego
their quarterback
Pavia's
this year.
in, I think,
He's
year
still
12.
there.
He is.
He's still there.
All right. He's a good player.
He's
I like
active
him.
as senior.
Drake May did that. Max Duggan did that, of the Battlehawks, of course. Brennan Armstrong, Malik Cunningham, and Sam Howell. That's a pretty good list of quarterbacks. Good company to keep. I don't know what it actually means to do it against Central Arkansas. I think it's more a playing style stat than it is anything about how great he's going to be. But, Alex, if you're in the conversation with guys like Haynes King, Drake May, Sam Howell, they played a style that I really enjoyed watching at the collegiate level. I think Missouri has a legit quarterback right now. At a very minimum, I think it shows you the floor. He's capable of being a SEC league average starter. That's a nice bar to be able to clear if you're the Missouri Tigers, considering we didn't know if they would have that on the roster this year. What was your experience watching Beau Pribula and the Tigers last night?
It was excitement watching him. Like that first heave down field that he tied up with Coleman, and they get that big, long touchdown. It's like, okay, we got the arm. You've seen the legs. We talked about that yesterday with Aaron Murray.
Speedy Johnson.
Yeah, that's who it was. Thank you. But I just... The fact that he was able to make plays quickly, but also escape danger. Now, I understand it is Central Arkansas, and they are not the scariest team defensively out there, but there were times where he was under pressure, and, man, the ability to roll out of that danger and still find space either with his legs or make plays. They've got a guy who I said yesterday, I want to see how you manage the game. How does the flow of the game work? Can you start off quick? Everything about that first half with Pribula looked like a quarterback that can keep his head above water in the SEC. I don't know what it's going to look like because, frankly, Central Arkansas doesn't tell me anything about SEC opponents as you get deeper into the season. But you've got weapons, and if you've got a quarterback that can do 2 things for you, you've got a dangerous team. So I was pretty excited after that first half of Pribula.
Yeah, he was impressive, and it makes me feel a lot better. Look, I was the one who was saying, if you got 2 quarterbacks, you really got none, and now they have just one. But I looked at Pribula and went, man, that guy did what you would want to see in that kind of game. Had a couple explosive plays with both his legs and his arm. He was quick when needed to be, and he was on point with most of his passing. Like, he was very impressive in last night's game. And, yes, it is just Central Arkansas. But, like, that explosive play that we were just talking about, that touchdown, that was a play Brady Cook didn't make last year in their game against Murray State. And I came on air with, I think it was Alex the next day, and said, hey, like, they weren't very explosive, and it's kind of alarming when you're playing an FCS team, and they weren't explosive all year.
So they showed you what you needed to see.
Exactly. Now, were there things that you might question a little bit in their game against them? I just want to make sure that we're aware of
Celebrate
them.
the fun. Celebrate the fun.
He was impressive. So was Ahmad Hardy, by the way. Those two, holy crap.
The usage was weird with Ahmad Hardy. I don't totally understand why he was playing into the second half.
The first play, though, was Roberts, and I'm like...
First quarter.
Yeah, I was like, maybe
Roberts.
you want to see what the guy is because you know what Hardy is, but I'm thinking it's like, where's Hardy right now?
Yeah, my tinfoil was, they maybe are just keeping away some tape from Kansas, but...
My other tinfoil is they knew that the game plan would be we're going to run a lot in the second half.
Because the game's going to be out of hand.
Exactly. Yeah. Sam Horn's going to be in the game in the that was the plan. Going to be in the game in the second half. We're going to hand it off a lot. So that's when we'll get Ahmad Hardy his run. In the first half, we're going to be throwing a decent amount more because we trust Pribula to do that, which also tells you everything you needed to know going in about where the quarterback competition was.
There's no competition then.
Now is probably when we should mention Sam Horn comes in the Wildcat in the first quarter, has one play, rushes for like 6 or 7 yards, gets hit right on the knee. It reminded me so much of the hit that Rashee Rice took last year that put him out for the season. Just brutal. An absolutely brutal moment for him. This is a guy that's battled through Tommy John. He is stuck with the program. He was drafted by the bleeping Dodgers, ends up signing for like $500,000, and sticks with Mizzou football for this fall to try to win the starting quarterback job. So you knew this meant a ton to him, and for him to have exactly one play, and he's immediately hurt again, that sucks. You got to feel for the kid, but from a purely football perspective, the bigger injury from Mizzou last night, because I think it was pretty clear Beau Pribula is their starter. The bigger injury last night is actually their kicker going down. I don't want to be...
Never thought I would say that for a SEC team.
I'm not trying to be Chicken Little here, but man, there's going to be a game this year that comes down to a kick. And Blake Craig...
Not if Pribula's winning the Heisman.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Blake Craig is a decent kicker. You never know where it's going to go when it's in that 30 to 50 range, but 50 and above and 30 and below, you feel really good about with him. That's a pretty big loss if he's going to be out for any extended period of time. And it didn't look good for him yesterday. So we'll wait on the news to know exactly what's going on. But, man, that's not a good one. No. I didn't like seeing him go down with an apparent leg injury.
I mean, you're right. There's going to be multiple games that are going to be impacted by this. My hope is that Mizzou can find at least some type of replacement if he's out for a long term by the time that it matters. You hope that these first few games, you're not worrying about the kicker coming through in an impactful moment, that you get the kicker problem figured out by the time you start that SEC schedule.
I apologize. Apparently, you can't be in the Wildcat when the quarterback is in there. So whatever you want to call the formation, they used Sam Horn in a specific package. Whatever you want to label that as, Sam Horn was in. The only thing he was going to do in that specific moment was run the football, and they ran him as a quarterback draw. So if you want to call that like the Tebow package, we can call it whatever we want. Sam Horn was in to run a play, and he ran on that play and got hurt on said play.
You call yourself the football guy on the show. Come on.
I'll take over the football stuff from now on.
I apologize. This is on me, according to Gabe DeArmond, who's my friend. I was just texting with him this morning. People like me who called it the Wildcat don't know football. So I apologize to Gabe DeArmond.
I hope he just texted you that right now.
I agree with 3 and 4. You just lost all your credibility.
That's on me. I apologize.
7 minutes into the show.
I need to be better. All right, let's get into it. T-Bone?
Yeah.
The O-line looked bad last night?
Yeah, it wasn't great.
No, it wasn't great.
And, it's only going to get harder from here. You could tell Green that got kicked out to the left tackle. He looks like a guard, and by that I mean uncomfortable. He gets beat on. He had one holding penalty that brought back. I can't remember if it was a run or a pass. That was a big play. He also has one where he just gets beat on the inside pretty quickly. That leads to a sack, and Pribula gets hit.
Oh, he got rocked, too, on that one.
It was really one drive. The O-line did not perform well last night. They had one really horrific drive, and it was mostly Caden Green, as you're mentioning, the new left tackle who was an all-conference guard. It was not a great night for him. And that is something that I'm absolutely going to have my eyes on, because yesterday we talked about it prior to the game. You can really only learn bad things. You can see signs of something positive against Central Arkansas, but you could really only learn bad things against them. I didn't learn great things about Missouri's offensive line last night. That's for damn sure. It was a concern going in. It remains a concern coming out for me. Scale of 1 to 10, my concernometer, 6.5 or 7.
It feels about right.
And rising. Oh, that would be where I would put it.
Yeah, I mean, that was the other part where I was impressed, but also wondering with Pribula. It's like, hey, man, you rolled out of that danger well, and you used your legs to escape the dangerous situation. But I don't know if you can do that in the SEC, because if your offensive line is allowing that type of push that quick, boy, you are going to be on the ground fast. But yeah, I mean, the offensive line wasn't the greatest, and I know Drink afterwards was like, oh, we did some really good things, they made some mistakes, and it's like, yeah, but that was Central Arkansas. The mistakes should have been very unnoticeable, and if they were, that's problematic moving forward.
T-Bone, you texted us last night as well, and it is something that I agreed with to a degree, maybe not to the same place where you were willing to go, but the other Something that I was very high on going in was the defensive line. I mean, we had heard all offseason about how great their defensive line was going to be, how much push they were going to be able to get. They had a couple of really nice plays yesterday, both of which were by the Georgia transfer at defensive end. Other than that, they were okay. Now, Central Arkansas got rid of the ball quickly. There were explanations as to why they didn't have as much impact on the game as you would have otherwise expected for an FCS team going up against an SEC defensive line. They got rid of the ball quickly. They ran the ball a lot. A lot of it was screen passes, which mitigate the pass rush. So all of these are explanations, not necessarily excuses. Another thing that I have my eye on, I didn't really notice the defensive line much last night. I thought I would. They did not wreck the game in the way that I expected them to. I'll keep my eye on that going into Kansas. That could absolutely change. Maybe they pin their ears back a little bit more going up against Jalen Daniels. That is very possible. I don't want to make too much of it. But my biggest takeaways from last night were almost exclusively positive. Beau Pribula looks the part. The weapons, they've got like 10 of them offensively. The freshman, Donovan O, is what I'm going to call him. That guy can play. I don't know how much playing time he's going to be able to get this year because they've got a bunch of good receivers. That kid can play, though. I also liked most of what we saw from the defense. Biggest questions from last night, O-line. Defensive line, is it going to be able to reach the ceiling that I thought it could? And kicker, are you going to be able to have somebody that replaces a guy that you really had high expectations for going into the season?
And two of those I don't think I'm going to be too worried about until about 3 or 4 games in. The O-line is the one that I'm concerned probably
Kicker
the most
I'm worried
of.
about.
I
Kicker against Kansas could become a legit storyline.
I just feel like the offense should be able to...
KU is pretty good, man.
Yeah.
I don't
Daniels
want to
was
undersell
impressive
this.
against Fresno State, and they play, I think, tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, KU, this could be a very close game. Like, I would not be surprised if it's, a 6-point line? Something like that?
Yeah.
Going into this one. And if it is, that's the type of game where it could come down to a kick here or there, a missed extra point. No, that stuff starts to add up over time. So, I mean, my concern level on the kicker is, I would say number 1 of the 3. Among the O-line, D-line, and kicker. Kicker would be my most urgent, pressing concern right now. O-line is second. D-line is much, much lower. I've seen most of these guys produce. It's just something where I wonder if they can reach the ceiling that I thought they could before the season.
Yeah, I would probably agree. I would actually probably put the O-line up a little bit higher over the kicker spot, but it's not by much because I think both are very alarming. Maybe not so much on the O-line. Like maybe Green gets comfortable at left tackle and figures it out. And if that's the case, then you probably are ultimately fine. But man, I've seen kickers wreck college football seasons in the past, and that's that's where it's alarming. Like we talk, we make the joke of why would you trust a college kicker? Like that's a real thing. And Mizzou had a guy you could trust. I mean, he had a bomb from 50 plus last night. I think he's like 10 of 14 from 50 plus in his career. You take that away, and suddenly you're like, oh boy, now when we're like on the fringe of field goal range, it's no longer fringe of like a 50-yarder, it's fringe of like a 30-yarder. That changes an offense by quite a bit in what you have to do when you're a head coach.
He is Tanner Hendrickson. That is Alex Ferrario. I'm Brandon Kiley. Mizzou wins last night 61-6 against Central Arkansas. Back in action next Saturday against the Kansas Jayhawks. Man, I cannot wait for that game. We'll certainly spend next week previewing that. Illinois gets back in action this evening with their season opener. Coming up in about 15 minutes, does Kyle Schwarber have a legit case to be the National League MVP at this point? We'll get into that at 11:30. Ask us anything coming up at 11:45. You guys can get involved in the show. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line to do so. You can check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/101ESPN STL. Hunter asks over on YouTube, how about that Cowboys trade, though? We will break that down and discuss what it means for both the Cowboys and the Packers next year on 101 ESPN. With Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. Alex, I got in my car yesterday, and I'm driving home, and I'm getting ready to do a radio hit in Kansas City with my guy Carrington. I get on the air with him, and they do the breaking news sounder. I'm like, what's going on? He says, BK, have you even seen this news yet? I said, Carrington, I have no idea what you're talking about.
BK's like freaking out. Oh, somebody's injured in Mizzou.
Yeah, I assumed, because he had me on to talk about Missouri yesterday. I was like, I assumed something big had happened for the Tigers. He's like, Micah Parsons has just been traded to the Green Bay Packers. I thought he was messing with me. Like, genuinely thought he was messing with me. He's like, you think that I would mess with you and play the breaking news sounder on radio in Kansas City?
They're going to ruin my show.
I know that's a fair point. He's like, listen, I have to react to this. Could we call you back? He's like, yes, I'll talk to you here in a little bit.
I have to react to it.
Absolutely. And I had to gather my thoughts as well. I couldn't believe it. I genuinely could not believe it. We talk about this all the time on the show, Alex. When we have these holdouts, I don't even like talking about them because we all know how they're going to end. It's going to end the way that it did with Trey Henderson for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's going to show up. He's going to get a little bit of a raise. You're going to figure it out. It's going to end the way that it did with
James
Washington.
Cook in Buffalo.
James Cook in Buffalo. Washington, they got the deal done with Terry McLaurin. Like, dude, there's a bunch of this, oh, he's not going to play. Oh, he's not going to show up. No, he is. He's going to play. They're going to give him a contract. He'll figure something out. Apparently, that is not the way that it works when Jerry feels personally slighted. And that's what happened here. Ultimately, this came down to Jerry was mad that he had a handshake agreement in his mind with Micah Parsons. Now, it doesn't matter what the reality is. This goes back to the Michael Jordan thing, right? Michael Jordan thought he was personally slighted by Jerry Sloan. So he had this vendetta against them. Didn't matter if it was real or not. It was a perceived slight. That's what happened here with Jerry. Jerry felt as though Micah Parsons big timed him. And nobody big times Jerry Jones. So he traded him. He said, get out of here. I'm not giving you the money that you think you're worth. Somebody else can give it to you. And the Packers said,
that'll be us.
well,
Yes, please.
hold on. You got a generational pass rusher who's like 25 years old, and it's one of, I think it's like 5 people that have had double-digit sacks each of the first 4 seasons in his NFL career.
Literally changed the defense of the Dallas Cowboys.
Like, you're not messing with us? We'll actually... Oh, you need a defensive tackle. All right, which one you want?
And you want first-round picks?
You want just 2? You want two first-round picks and a 30-year-old defensive tackle?
You know those first-round picks
All right, man, go ahead.
You know those first-round picks aren't going to be very good, right? Like, you're giving us a generational talent. Okay,
We're
cool.
already a contender, and you're giving us one of the best players in the NFL who is just entering his prime. Jerry, are you messing with us?
Are you well, Jerry?
And the answer was, yeah, we'll go ahead and do it. It's one of the most shocking professional trades that I have ever seen.
Even there were people posting like the Madden trades. Even Madden laughed at the trade proposal from the Dallas Cowboy or from the Packers perspective. It's like
I couldn't believe it, Alex.
Part of me couldn't believe it, but then part of me is like, this is Jerry Jones.
Yeah, that was kind of my reaction.
Like, if this was any other team, I'd be a lot more shocked than you. But all of the news surrounding it, it just felt like what was going to happen because this is how Jerry Jones operates. It's if you feel this is the ego getting in the way of running an organization. And it's why if I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan right now, can't really do it, but I'd be boycotting these Cowboys games. Like, you are going to run this team into the ground with moves like that when ego gets in the way. And I'm sure Jerry Jones looked at this as, well, we'll find somebody else to be the next Micah Parsons. Good luck.
Parsons is legitimately a Hall of Famer. Like, that's the
Already.
trajectory that he's on.
You paid Dak Prescott. You paid CeeDee Lamb. Cool, you got half of your team that's good. And by the way, you had those guys and your team couldn't do anything in the playoffs. And now you look at a 25-year-old difference maker, generational player, and you say, no, you took a shot at me. I feel slighted, so get out of here. Well, cool, man. Well, your organization is going to be ish then because you don't make these moves and have success.
Someone on the text line from the 217 said, don't be a prisoner of the moment. It's the Khalil Mack trade all over again. That's the closest thing that I can recall to this in the NFL. It's the closest thing. Jalen Ramsey was shocking in the moment. I couldn't believe that he actually got traded. The Khalil Mack trade was shocking to me. You just don't see deals like this for a player that is this good. And that's That's what makes it unique is the position, the age, and the early career production. Because Micah Parsons was projected to be a really good NFL player. He was not projected to be this, man. Nobody's projected to be this. Even with like Tyreek Hill, shocking. I couldn't believe the Chiefs actually traded him. At least he was like 28 years old, 29 years old when he was traded.
That was Mac. Mac was 28 years old when he was traded, or 27, I think.
Yeah.
And wasn't
Micah
Hill
is
like
26?
Wasn't Hill like early in the offseason too?
Yeah, it was before the draft.
Yeah. Like that, like this is where
the timing of it is definitely also part of it.
This is where it makes it interesting for me is because, like, you know, I thought Bill Barnwell did a great piece on ESPN kind of breaking down the trade today, and I was reading it, and he said, well, if the Cowboys went with the explanation of, hey, we don't really want to pay 3 guys that are going to eat up probably like 50% of our salary cap, I could get to a spot where I say, okay, now that makes sense, right? I could see where you're saying we don't want to get so heavy with 3 big contracts, but if that was actually the case, one, you don't have the negotiation and the handshake, quote-unquote, agreement that Jerry Jones says they had. And 2, you probably do what the Chiefs did with Tyreek Hill, and you trade him before the draft, so you have more ammo for the draft to help you in the here and now. But they didn't do that.
The craziest part, dude, the Cowboys still had leverage.
Yeah.
He's on his 5th-year option. He's got 2 more potential franchise tags that he could have operated under. And if you're the team, you just say, hey, man, we're not paying you $47 million a year because we could franchise tag you for the next 2 years for less than that. It would be cheaper for us to tag you over the next 2 years than to give you this 4-year, $47 million per year contract. Now, this is a boatload of money. Let's not undersell this. From the Packers side of things, they just gave, like, I saw a guy named Joel Corey, who's a former NFL agent. He writes for CBS Sports. He writes about the business side of the NFL. And he tweeted out yesterday, he can't recall a non-quarterback resetting the market in NFL history the way that we just saw with Micah Parsons. I mean, it's a huge contract for him. But if any team can make that work, it's the Packers right now because of the way that their team's constructed. They're already one of the youngest teams in the NFL. They have ultimate cap flexibility both this year and beyond. So for the Packers side of things, man, they go from a team that I was already interested in. You guys know how much I loved the Packers last year. I continue to like them going into this year without Micah Parsons. Now you put Micah into that defense, a guy who late in a game, you need somebody to make a play for you. It's 3rd and 7, game on the line. You're up by 4 points, and the other team is driving with a minute and a half to go. You need somebody on your defense to go out there and make a play. I don't know who that guy would have been for them prior to making this trade for Micah Parsons. I now know exactly who I would anticipate making that play, and it's Micah Parsons because that's what he does. He makes big plays in big moments. That's what blue chip players do. He becomes that player for the Packers. They have put themselves into Super Bowl contention window now.
Yeah.
Like what we have seen, the Chiefs over the last 5 years have gone to the Super Bowl and played the 49ers twice. They've gone to the Super Bowl and played the Eagles twice. The Packers, I believe, outside of the Eagles, are the most likely NFC team to do that over the next 5 years.
Yeah. I mean, to me, when the trade was made, they're the 3rd best team in the NFC. And I think it's like a tied for 2nd because I still like the Lions, but the Lions are a remain to be seen.
You're saying post-trade?
Yeah, post-trade.
I think they are right now the 2nd best team in the NFC, and I can listen to the argument on first.
I'd like to see the Lions first because I think the Lions they've got Aiden Hutchinson and they still have a lot of difference makers on offense, which I don't know if I can say about the Packers, but I think they're tied with the Lions with the potential of unseating them as this season progresses. But I mean, that's a far cry from where I thought they were pre-trade of Micah Parsons because I could have made the argument for the Lions, the Commanders, and even a team like the Vikings before I'd make the argument for the Packers.
Yeah, I would put them probably as the 3rd team as well because I still would take the Lions ahead of them right now. I'm just not that high on the Packers like you are. I
still think they're missing difference maker on offense.
Yeah, I think they're missing a difference maker on offense, and I think Jordan Love's a good quarterback. I don't know if he's a great quarterback to help get you over the top, and that's where I still need to see it from Jordan Love. Yeah. That's why And maybe like when they've brought in Matthew Golden from the draft, like maybe he's the guy that ends up helping them out this year and really gets that offense over the top. But I got to see it first before I'm willing to say, hey, Micah Parsons suddenly just made you a Super Bowl contender to come out of the NFC because I think the Eagles are better, and I would still take the Detroit Lions over them.
Yeah, interesting.
But they've leapfrogged the Commanders because I thought the Commanders were where the Packers were before the Parsons trade was made.
For what it's worth on Vegas' side of things, I mentioned yesterday Ravens right now the favorite to win the Super Bowl. Bills and the Eagles are next. So the Ravens are plus 700, 7-1. Bet $100 you win 700 on the Ravens. Bills and the Eagles are plus 750. Chiefs are plus 850. And then after that, it is the Lions at 11-1. You guys are in line with Vegas. Packers are at 12-1.
That's what I'd look at.
49ers at 18-1. Rams at 19-1. Commanders at 20-1.
And again, I
was worse than that. What the?
And again, I think 3 or 4 weeks into the season, I think I could have my opinion swayed depending on what this Lions team looks like. Because you had a lot of turnover. I don't know what Hutchinson looks like coming back on the coordinator side, the turnover, and your offensive line is a little different. But they've got difference makers on both sides of the ball, and I don't know if the Packers have that yet on offense.
He's Alex. That's T-Bone on BK. In 15 minutes, we'll get into Ask Us Anything. If you guys have any questions, sports or otherwise, we'll get to them coming up at 11:45. But next, Kyle Schwarber just had a historic night for the Philadelphia Phillies. Did it put him into legitimate contention for the National League MVP? We'll talk about that next year in 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals took down the Pirates yesterday 4-1 as they split their 4-game set with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And tonight they start a 3-game set at the Cincinnati Reds. 5:40 will be first pitch. Matthew Liberatore will be on the mound for St. Louis. And last night Missouri kicked off their season as they took down Central Arkansas in their game with a final score of 61-6. Illinois kicks off their season tonight. 6:30 will be kickoff when they take on Western Illinois. This Sports Center update was driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See Londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, some news from Derek Gould that was just reported moments ago. The Cardinals are planning to promote Jimmy Crooks, their catcher, and infielder Cesar Prieto to join them in Cincinnati today. Derek adding that the corresponding moves not yet announced. More in his news report over at the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Alex, we had talked previously about whether or not they would make these kinds of promotions, and we kind of sided on no. They're probably not going to. I'm glad they are.
Me too.
It makes a lot of sense. Both of them needed to be added to the 40-man this offseason anyways. Jimmy Crooks has had a very good season this year down at the AAA level. He's a catcher. The Cardinals now have 100 catchers on their roster.
Maybe an outfielder.
Maybe room for one more. And Cesar Prieto has had a good season this year at the AAA level. Not great, but good.
They do need more left-handed infielders.
And he is indeed a left-handed utility infielder.
Yes. And even better, he doesn't have any power. He's a slap-hitting left-handed
it's
infielder.
just contact, baby. I bet he's speedy on the base paths, too.
I wouldn't count on that.
Don't think that's necessarily part of his profile.
Well, that's against the mold then for the Cardinals.
But they have made 2 promotions. They will have to make a couple of corresponding moves. My guess is one of these will be Wilson Contreras being suspended for the next 6 games. So we'll see on that one. But that would be, again, my assumption. The other one, I'm guessing Garrett Hampson gets the DFA.
Maybe. It's either that. I was thinking maybe like Pozo. They move on from Pozo and just put Crooks back there as the backup catcher.
That would be unfortunate.
Yeah.
I don't know if they do Pozo.
I mean, he took a shot off the mask, but he's played the whole game yesterday, so I don't think he's hurt.
I think Pozo's still going to be one of those.
This is the time of year.
NIL situation.
Yeah, this is the time of year where you do see more of these kind of veteran players get released. I mean, the Guardians just released Carlos Santana, who's been pretty solid for them. I could see where they just say, you know what, it is time for us to do what is best and get Crooks playing time, so we're moving on from Pozo.
I mean, Jose Fermin's still on this roster.
That's another one you could do. Fermin's could be the one that's
probably
DFA.
the one that's going in this one.
Yeah,
at least they keep Hampson because he's a speedy weapon that they could pinch run for or
Probably
something.
a great DJ in the locker room.
Yeah, I would imagine. No, that's the excuse for why Fermin is still here.
Oh.
Yeah, I think Fermin makes a lot of sense as the guy that ends up getting DFA'd. Hampson could
one of those two. It doesn't matter. Either of those two should.
If they DFA'd both of them, and this is not in relation to the suspension for Wilson Contreras, that's fine by me as well. I'm glad they're doing this. Again, both of these guys they had the urgency, right? They had to be added to the 40-man roster this offseason either way. Jimmy Crooks is 24 years old. So he's not a player that is being rushed to the big league level. Cesar Prieto is actually 26 years old, so he is certainly not being rushed either. I will be curious to see kind of how they fit into this mix. Are those guys that end up getting real playing time? I think there is opportunities here for Jimmy Crooks. I could see him getting a decent amount of playing time down the stretch. You guys think we'll see much of Cesar Prieto?
I don't. I for how many infielders they have, I mean, I just think unless there's another injury that we don't know about, I think right now it's Wynn, it's Gorman, and it's Thomas Ajacey. Now, if they try and cut back on Wynn a little bit more, and maybe that's where you get him a little bit more playing time, he's the one that I'm just kind of iffy about seeing. Crooks is the one that I'm kind of excited about because this, for everything we've heard, could be one of those catchers of the future, or it could be a potential trade chip for the Cardinals in the offseason.
Let's be real. He could start for you next year.
That's kind of why I'm saying, like, I'd like to see him get a lot of reps. That's the one that I want to see on as much, as close to being daily as possible. And I know they're not going to do that because you still have Pajes and if Pozo's here, but he's the one that I want to see more so than Prieto.
Well, my guess is with Crooks being here, Pozo's, if he's on the roster, he's not your backup catcher. Like, my guess is this becomes Pajes 2, Crooks 1. And it's 4 game. I don't think they've got any more 4-game sets, but that's the way I think they will play it the rest of the way. Yeah, Prieto's one that I don't know. Like, maybe they do cut back on wins, so maybe they just put Win on hey, you play 2 games, you get a game off, and then you can put JC at short, and Prieto can go over to second base. Or maybe Win is one of these corresponding moves and is going on the IL with the knee, but he seemed to be moving pretty well yesterday, so I just kind of assume he's fine. But I don't know that you necessarily have to work around to get a bunch of plate appearances for Prieto. You need to see a couple just to see if he does look like a big leaguer and if he belongs on the 40-man roster going into next year. But he's not a guy that's a priority. Crooks is more of a priority of, hey, this guy should catch probably once out of every 3 games.
As we're looking at some of the guys that could be in conversations for 2026, I don't think Prieto would fit into this mix. Maybe you feel as though Jimmy Crooks could. But as we project forward for next season, Alex, if you had to pick one player to be your breakout candidate for 2026, who do you think it would be? I feel like when we've done this, it's been Jordan Walker for 3 years running.
Oh, it's not going to be him for the 4th year?
Hasn't just yet. Maybe he's your answer. But if you had to pick a breakout player for 2026, who would you go with?
Can I put Weatherholt in this?
Sure.
Because I look at Weatherholt as the prime candidate in this one because I think he's got the Rookie of the Year potential from what you've seen in the minors. So it's a chalk answer, and I'm sure a lot of people are looking at it that way, but he'd be mine.
I think I would go on the pitching side, and I think I would go with their first-round pick in Liam Doyle. I think if Doyle can come onto the scene, I mean, my guess is he's probably going to start at Double-A once we get into next year. And we've seen guys like Paul Skeens that have filthy stuff that fly through the system. If he becomes one of those guys, man, that changes how I feel about a lot of their pitching crisis that will be 2026.
I've got 2 questions for you guys. One, does Ivan Herrera qualify?
No.
Or has he already broken out?
I think he can qualify because if he gets more power, I think it would count as a breakout.
2, would Mason Wynn qualify?
Yeah.
I wouldn't qualify either
if
of those.
Mason Wynn goes from a league average hitter to 20% above league average, like he does next year what Alec Burleson did for his profile this year, would that qualify as a breakout?
I would say yes.
I would go with one of those 2. Whoever you qualify this, it's like Alex has different answers than T-Bone does.
So you need another one.
So
Sorry, you got to match the group.
However you would qualify them, those would be my 2 answers. I think they go from being nice pieces to have as part of your rebuild to one or both of them become legitimate building blocks.
In that sense, I wonder if Matthew Liberatore could be that. Where you only saw a first half of a season, I wonder
if you think he's going to take that step, I would definitely say he could qualify. I would not pick him for me.
I wouldn't either. I'm just curious what the second half, what an offseason looks like to where now he knows how to prepare for a full 162 as a rotation arm.
I have reservations on Libby. I think Libby at this point, if I was projecting him, I would project him to be a number 4 starter moving forward. A little bit of upside. You can see it in flashes. There are moments where you watch him and you're like, man, that's a really nice starter to have as part of your rotation. And then there are other games where you watch him and you're like, 4 innings again, huh? Couldn't keep the velo up into the 5th inning. And I think that's going to be a consistent issue. If this was a one-off and this was the first time that he had shown that in his major league career, I would have a lot higher grace period with him. But this is the same issues that he had the first time around when he previously was a starter at the major league level. And I don't think at that point it was about workload. It was about he can't keep his velo, can't maintain it deeper into the games because of whatever. And it's happening once again for him. So I wouldn't put him into this criteria for me because I don't think that we're going to see a breakout for him. I think he is what he is. He's a pitchability, solid mid to back end of the rotation starter, which is valuable. It's not nothing. It's better than having him as a 7th inning reliever as a matchups guy, but it's not what we were hoping he could become at the beginning of the season.
Would you put Gorman on this list?
I think he qualifies if you think that he can be a 35 home run hitter next year for sure.
Things look better for him.
No doubt.
Over the last, what'd you say, 2 months, month and a half?
Yeah, since June.
So to where I'm like at the point where I'm like, am I falling for it again?
Yeah,
I think I might be falling for it, but like
I'm not doing it.
He could do 35 homers, right? Like if he cuts down on he cuts down on like the major lapses of like a month where he doesn't hit. He's probably a 35 home runs lock.
I think he's more likely to be the breakout candidate next year than Matthew Liberatore. I would say that much.
Well, I agree with that, but I'm not falling for the Nolan Gorman thing. I don't think either are the breakout candidates we thought. I was just asking with Liberatore.
I think Gorman is more likely to break out than J.J. Weatherholt. And the reason I say this is because I think J.J. Weatherholt's going to have a learning curve when he gets here. And that's not to say I don't think J.J. Weatherholt's a good player, but like it even took Bobby Witt a little bit to figure out what it was at the big league level. So I think J.J. Weatherholt's going to be a guy that you hope for like 5%, 10% above league average. And like that would technically be a breakout here at the big league level, especially because the Cardinals don't develop bats. But I think that there's still, if you really believe in a ceiling for him, I think he's going to disappoint you in year one.
Yeah, I do think age is part of this too. Like JJ Weatherholt is 22 now. Bobby Witt was 22 in his first year at the major league level, so he's almost a year behind on the development curve from where Bobby was for the Royals. So that would play into some of my expectations for him as well.
I'm just not falling for the Gorman thing again. I'm not going to do this where we act like, oh, he could be a 35 home run hitter. I'm not. Do it, and then I'll start believing it. I'm a see is believe kind of guy.
He's Alex. That's T-Bone on BK. In 15 minutes, we'll catch up with former Cardinals pitcher, now Cardinals analyst for FanDuel Sports Midwest, Brad Thompson, here on BK and Ferrario, as we do each and every Friday. We'll ask him about what he expects the situation to be for both Preto and also Jimmy Crooks. Coming up next, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. If you guys have any questions, sports or otherwise, we'll get to them here on BK and Ferrario. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. Time for Ask Us Anything. If you guys have any questions, sports or otherwise, today is the day to get them in. We'll answer anything with some relative limitations.
Nope, no limitations. I'm making that statement right now.
From the 314, guys, if you were starting a football team, which current NFC North head coach would you want to hire? That's a great question. Which NFC North coach
I want Dan Campbell. I want Dan Campbell. I think he screams intense leader, and he's also bold and ready to make the decisions. Man, that's the guy I would want with my group.
I like Dan Campbell a lot. I love his aggressiveness. I love his ability to create a culture within his organization. Even when they were bad, he was able to get them out of that losing mindset and into a winning mindset. I think that's a real thing. I would want a guy that's going to maximize my quarterback, and I don't know if Campbell was that guy or if that was Ben Johnson yet. So I can't put him at the top of my list from this division. It would be either LaFleur or O'Connell, and I think I'm going to go with Kevin O'Connell because I've seen him do more with less at the quarterback position. So I'll go Kevin O'Connell as my coach coming out of this division. I would have him at number one. I would have him really high on my list of the best coaches in the NFL. In the NFC, if I was starting with any coach, it would probably be your guy, Sean McVay. I would probably go Shanahan 2 and then O'Connell 3. It's high praise for him.
Yeah, I agree. I would go O'Connell because I would look more for kind of the tactician than the culture guy, because the problem with a culture guy is, in Dan Campbell's case, there's the potential that you have to rely on your coordinator hires. And if he got it wrong this offseason, you're really going to see it. To BK's point, like, O'Connell's able to maximize his quarterbacks. I mean, look at what he did with Sam Darnold last year. LaFleur has been very good at this as well. I mean, he did a very good job when Jordan Love got hurt last year of winning games with Malik Willis. And then I just don't know on Ben Johnson. So I agree. I would probably go Kevin O'Connell 1.
From Moistus Alou, what's everyone's plans for the Labor Day weekend? Alex, I'm going to the Cardinals game on Monday.
I know you are, buddy.
A guy from our text line.
You and 5,000 people should really enjoy that day.
It's going to be wonderful. Guy from the text line sent me his tickets. It was really nice of him. So I'm going to be taking Luca to the Cardinals game on Monday. Got him on the ballpark app. Really looking forward to it.
They're fake tickets. I don't know Labor Day, like actual Monday. I'm sure we're going to be doing something with the family, but the weekend I'm golfing 2 of the days. So that's worth it.
314-399. T-Bone, do you have breaking news?
Brad Thompson potentially at 12:20. Okay, would you call that breaking?
So we'll get BT coming up.
I like
here.
the potentially.
That means we get to go a little longer with your question.
We'll toss to it, and then maybe he'll answer.
We might change it again. Hold on. We'll wait for confirmation.
Look, it gives us more time for Ask Us Anything.
That is A-OK. Don't sweat it. We can just go a little longer with questions from the text line.
Ooh.
Well, he doesn't want to talk to us while we're on the Uber?
Tell him to put the Uber driver on.
That's right. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. From the 573, settle an argument. What's less of a sport, golf or fishing?
Oh, not hard for me.
Golf.
Fishing.
Sorry, fisherman. It's fishing.
Yeah, fishing. Fishing's not a sport.
Rule of thumb for me.
Yeah. Go ahead and try.
Don't have a ball. It ain't a sport.
Well, also, go ahead and try and freaking hit that little tiny ball with that little tiny iron that you're holding and tell me it's not a sport.
Yeah, that's a leisure activity.
I'd agree.
Fishing? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's a leisure activity.
I enjoy fishing.
Yeah, because it's not bad if you don't get anything, because it was still a good day out there. It's awful if you have a bad day golfing.
I will say, I find it very frustrating when I'm out on the lake for like 4 hours and come back with a goose egg in the fishing
But weren't you drinking?
No.
You weren't drinking while you were fishing?
I mean, couldn't I say the same about you with golfing?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I'm still miserable. Actually, the drinking enhances my anger at golf when I don't hit it well.
That's not enjoyable. I want this to be relaxing, not more stressful because I've been
golf's
drinking.
not that.
From the 636, what do you think Mizzou's final record will be this season?
Brandon?
10-2.
12-0.
Oh, cue the fight song if we're doing 12-0.
There we go.
Somebody texted in earlier and said this is now known as Beau Zuri.
We can work on
I think it was bishing about sports. It was really good.
I could respect
Leave the nicknames to me, though.
I say 9-3.
Okay.
10-2 is mine.
I think there's probably one game where they kind of lay in, because there's a couple on there that you view as, like, I think A&M will beat them. isn't there someone else? Oh, Alabama. Alabama's on their schedule. There's probably one more in there that I think is probably a loss. Like Oklahoma's 50-50. At Auburn is tough when you're on the road. I think they'll lose one more. I'll say 9-3.
From the 314, BK, how do you feel about the Mizzou O-line? Concerned, but not terrified. It's something that I'm monitoring, and it is a worry. I do like that they have such a mobile quarterback. I would say this, by the way, about Beau Pribula, because Mizzou had a very good scrambler, a good runner in Brady Cook. Pribula appears to be much more agile than what they had in Brady Cook. Brady was a very straight line athlete. Beau had some wiggle to him, whether that was in the pocket or as a runner. He moves laterally better than what I saw from Brady Cook in his time in Mizzou.
And as
So
T-Bone,
that would be the biggest difference.
And as T-Bone brought up earlier, like he's just precise with his connection. Like he hits his targets where Brady Cook wasn't as crisp with that. Like,
right. I'm talking, though, about the running portion of it and how
yeah.
that affects the offensive line. It helps your ability to mitigate the pressure if you've got a guy that can navigate the pocket and not just move forward and back. Pribula showed last night the ability to maneuver within the pocket with agility as opposed to just getting straight up inside of the pocket. So I think that'll help them on the offensive line as well.
Yeah, the O-line, it is a concern for me, and it's part of why I lean more towards 9-3, because even though you have a quarterback that is mobile, if you're constantly going to have pressure in the backfield, there is going to be a game, maybe two, where it really throws him off. And that's why I lean towards 9-3. If the O-line looked good last night, I might have been willing to say like 10-2. That's how impressed I was with Hardy and Pribula. But, man, the O-line feels like a big question mark.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. From Big Steve, who has a better chance to win the championship first, the Cardinals or the Missouri Tigers? It's always the Cardinals in this scenario because the odds of any non-blue blood winning a college football national title are slim to none. I say that with all love in my heart for the Missouri Tigers, and this is why I do think it matters when you go 10-2. Because if it doesn't, then what are we doing watching college football? Because for most of us, like T-Bone as an Illinois fan, me as a Missouri fan, if you're a Kentucky fan, if you're an Indiana fan, whatever it is, the team that you're rooting for, if it's not one of like Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Clemson, USC, Texas, Ohio State, Michigan, if you're not one of the fan of like 12-ish different teams, you're not winning the national title. So where is your hope? Where is your happiness coming from watching that sport? If there's no fulfillment, why are we watching? So
Because we're gambling.
Touche. But if you're a fan of a specific team and you put energy into that team, and the only way they can make you happy is if they win the national title.
I think some of the, like that one I would agree with is a little ridiculous, but like on years like last year for Mizzou, I think playoff should have been what made you happy. I think for Illinois, this year, playoff should be what makes you happy. Because, like, trust me, Illinois gets the playoffs. Though I'm wearing my family shirt and I'm all about the fam, we ain't winning no title. Let me tell you that. But this year, like, I will be happy with them being in the playoff. They miss the playoff and they go like 9-3, 8-4. I will be disappointed. That's why I thought last year Mizzou season was a little disappointing because they were a team that felt like one that should have gotten to the playoff, which is probably what the ceiling is at Mizzou.
I was thinking about it. Like, Illinois knows that that's not how you spell family, right?
Oh, yeah, it's all about the marketing. IL.
It's just like
ILL.
marketing and like the words spelled incorrectly.
From Well in Dowd.
Gross.
BK, what can you tell us about the young man that worked for Mizzou TV station that passed away so young last night? I don't know if you guys saw this story. It was announced yesterday after the Missouri football game. Ben Arnett passed away. He was the KOMU sports director. Ben was around the team a lot when I was there as a student. He was a guy that was working for like some of the Mizzou athletics stuff at that point in time, and then eventually he took over for Chris Gervino, overseeing KOMU. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the way that Mizzou works with the journalism school, KOMU is like a big draw for students that are going to Mizzou. Their whole idea is you learn by doing. And some schools, like, for example, Syracuse. Syracuse is very much more of the, you learn the concepts and everything, and then when you get to the end of your time at Syracuse, you get the opportunity to really go on air and put that stuff out there. At Mizzou, the idea is, hey, we're going to get you on air. You're going to learn how to do this and make all of your silly, stupid mistakes by going out there and like actually being on television. So you start out at MUTV and eventually you go over to KOMU, which is a legit, like true operation. It is a news station that has professionals working for it, but it is also staffed by students. And so the people that are on air are also, by and large, teachers. And that is the role that Ben Arnett has served over the last few years at KOMU. Ben was not somebody that I knew all that well, but we interacted quite a bit because we were both covering Mizzou at the time. Man, he's 43 years old. I don't know what happened. It was sudden, and it was announced yesterday. He's got kids. Like, this is... It really hits you, Alex, especially when we have kids of our own now. It hits you differently to see somebody pass away so young. So yeah, I feel for him. I feel for all of my friends that are still out in Columbia that knew Ben in a way that I did not, but it sucks, man. It's absolutely brutal, taken away way too young, and I don't have any more to pass along, like news-wise, on it, but it's terrible. It's absolutely horrible. So we'll get back to sports coming up next here on 101 ESPN. Some Cardinals news to pass along. This comes from Katie Wu, Cardinals insider for The Athletic. She says that the Cardinals, as we knew previously, are indeed calling up Jimmy Crooks and Cesar Prieto. One of the corresponding moves will be Alec Burleson, placed on the 10-day injured list. This is interesting, Alex, for a couple of reasons. Most notably, Burleson was one of their options at first base. And if the other move is Wilson Contreras and the suspension starting today, I don't know who they're going to have playing first base. Maybe Ivan Herrera.
Catcher / DH / outfielder / first baseman.
Maybe Nolan Gorman. Maybe Jimmy Crooks. No, they wouldn't do that. Calling him up. Maybe Joe Pozo. Could he do it? But seriously, who's going to play first base?
Who's on
You
first?
just listed it. Like 5 different guys could do that. Prieto?
Jordan Walker?
No, okay. Now you're getting crazy. Jared Hansen?
I'm open to suggestions. I don't know what the answer is. I'm a little surprised they aren't considering calling up Blaze Jordan. If it is Wilson Contreras going on.
What's he been doing in the minors?
Maybe Contreras isn't starting his suspension today. Maybe they're still taking time with that. And that's why he's not coming up. Or Cesar Prieto. I think
Blaze Jordan's hitting 157 with
he has not been good.
2 home runs in Memphis.
Even if the suspension doesn't start today, I mean, we know it's coming. Like, he's not just going to lose. They're not going to. The appeal process isn't going to cut this from 6 to 0. I wouldn't think. So, even then, you know it's coming at some point.
But you don't have to replace him at first until it comes.
Sure, but why not just make the move then now? I don't know who they're going with that first. My guess would be it's Pozo, Prieto, one of those two. I don't think they would put Crooks over there at first base in his first game.
I think that's why Crooks is up, because one of the other catchers are going to be moving in different positions, and so you could play Crooks behind the plate.
How many innings do you think Cesar Prieto, according to Fangraphs, spent at first base in his minor league career?
I'm thinking 0.
I'm thinking 2.
0. Can you imagine? He makes his major league debut at a position he never has played.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. That'd be a Cardinals move.
Herrera would make some sense too, because if you are going to put him at a position, I know they've tried left field. But he's had hamstring issues in the past. If that's something that concerns you, first base would be a place that you put him. But I don't know if that's where he's
stood
going to
over
play
there for
him.
6 innings.
When did that
Gorman
occur?
stood over there for 6 innings.
I think it was like a couple of weeks ago, if I remember correctly.
I love the way you framed that. Gorman stood over there for 6 innings. Yeah. That was when Matt Adams played the outfield. Yeah, he stood in the left field for
Colton Wong. He stood in center field. He dove for a ball, and then he never did it again.
He fell, and he blew his knee out or whatever.
Yeah, so...
all right. We are going to potentially see 4 catchers in the lineup in one game.
It's from the 636. Guys, what about Donnie at first? 636. I know many are not watching Cardinals baseball right now. Understood.
Donnie hasn't played in 3 weeks.
He's not around right now. He's on the injured list.
You know, somebody brought up a really good point, saying that Ollie should never be concerned about pinch hitting for a catcher in a game, because they're going to have 5 guys that could play that position on the roster.
You to be always fair, got no pinch hitting options, but
that's true too. But you never have to worry about it.
You've got more of them.
You've got the most versatility that you've ever asked for in terms of catchers that can play 5 different positions.
That'd be great.
I kind of want to play the lineup game today.
Let's do it right now.
I hope it comes out before we get off here.
Let's do it right now. Let's project what it'll look like. Hit the open, T-Bone.
Oh, I don't even want to try and project it.
All right.
I guess it's a JC Short second for, I don't know.
So
Gorman's at third.
We're talking about a lot of players right now that could potentially impact the Cardinals in 2026. Cesar Prieto, maybe Jimmy Crooks. We've mentioned Nolan Gorman. Maybe he's a part of this thing. Ivan Herrera. I want to ask you a question that ultimately probably won't happen. You ready to spend some time on a hypothetical?
Good. I love these. This will give us a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I'm preemptively saying, text line, don't yell at me. I understand all of this is unlikely. However,
but I love these.
We have seen some teams in the past that are going through a rebuild similar to what the Cardinals are going through right now, expedite the process by going out and signing a star. We saw that with Texas. They didn't sign one. They signed 2 of them, Marcus Semien and Corey Seager. That is their middle infield, has been for the last 4 years. It allowed them to win a world championship because they signed those 2 players. Now, otherwise, it has not gone particularly well for them, but in that 1 year, they won a title, and guess what? Flags fly forever. Out in San Diego, one of the things that got them back on track with their fan base was signing Manny Machado. They signed Eric Hosmer first. That one didn't work out so well, but then they signed Manny Machado to be the face of the franchise. Alex, if Cardinals ownership came to you, they would never do this, but if they came to you and said, Alex, we are giving you the option we are willing to spend the money to sign one high-level free agent this offseason. But you only get one. Once you sign that guy, you're done playing in free agency. And we're going to do this to expedite the rebuilds. Which of these four options would you choose to sign? Kyle Schwarber, who hit 4 home runs in a game last night. Kyle Tucker, who has been a perennial 900 OPS, legit all-star caliber outfielder. Framber Valdez, who's been a number 1 or number 2 starter for the last 7 years for the Houston Astros and has a legit postseason pedigree. Or would you go with Dylan Cease, whose real numbers this year and 2 years ago, not particularly good. All of the underlying stuff is still there, strikeout rate high, all that. Schwarber, Tucker, Valdez, or Cease. If you could sign one player to expedite the Cardinals rebuild, who would you go with?
Mine would still be Kyle Tucker. And it is a really close second with Kyle Schwarber because of the difference maker that he is. But my reasoning with the Kyle Tucker one is age, but also I think what Kyle Schwarber has done over these last 3 years, and I don't think Kyle Tucker's going to be a 50 home run hitter, but you're seeing Schwarber really get to this level at 31, 32 years old. Tucker's not even there yet. So the position that he plays and where you desperately need some difference makers in terms of the outfield on top of his age, mine would be Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, mine would be Kyle Tucker as well. And to me, it's not close on that list because, I mean, you mentioned it, he's still in his prime. He'll be 29 next year. You've got 3 to 4 years of his prime. And he feels, I mean, you can say it's about a lot of stars until it goes, but he feels like a guy that could have his prime extended past into about his mid-30s. He's a guy for me. He would be the guy, I mean, you've got a clear hole in your outfield. I would sign him to that long-term contract. Boom, there's our right fielder of the future. Mm-hmm. We've got our superstar, and now we can kind of build around him with some of our complementary pieces.
I think the answer is Kyle Tucker for all of the reasons that you guys have already listed. Would you give any consideration to one of the pitchers, though?
I wouldn't. I don't think that expedites the rebuild for you because I still think your offense isn't great, and I think you're just adding another pitcher that can be a difference maker for you every 5th day, but other than that, your offense still isn't coming through, kind of like what we've seen with Sonny Gray.
Can I make the case for Framber Valdez? You guys willing to listen?
Yeah.
Okay. Framber Valdez is one of the most underrated players in Major League Baseball. You look at it since the start of the 2021 season. He has started 138 games, which means he started 22, 31, 31, 28, 26 so far this year. He's on pace to once again start 30-plus for the Houston Astros. He is consistently a 160 to 200 inning starter. And in those games, he has a 3.1 ERA, which is about 35% above league average. And it's not fluky at all. This is legit. All of the underlying metrics suggest, hey, he's just a really freaking good pitcher. There's been no real drop-off for him. He also has a fantastic playoff pedigree. He is a guy who at times looks completely dominant in the postseason. Now, he's had other moments where it doesn't look so great for him, but he's been a big part of the Astros being a World Series contender over the last 5 to 7 years. I don't think that's just suddenly going to drop off for Framber Valdez. And if I look at the biggest hole for the Cardinals that they have no answer for in their system, they do not have anybody other than Liam Doyle that projects to be a legitimate front-end starter. And we've said this all along, Alex. You need multiple top-of-the-rotation pitchers in order to be a legitimate contender. I don't know where they're getting that. Maybe next year in the draft, there's no guarantee, though, and those guys take a little while to be able to produce from your system. Man, look across the National League. All of the contenders have done something like this where they go out and get a starter from somebody else to insert into their rotation. Valdez could be that for you. And if J.J. Weatherholt is as good as the Cardinals claim him to be, and it's not just them, man, all of the other scouts that are across Major League Baseball right now and third-party publications, they're all saying the same thing. This guy is a stud coming through the Cardinal system. All right, so you have that. Maybe Ivan Herrera takes another step. Maybe you see Nolan Gorman become the home run hitter that they've been talking about in the past. They've got outs on the position player side of things. They don't have that. They don't have options on the pitching side. You have to supplement that externally at some point in time. Framber Valdez, I think, would be my second option. I'd go Tucker 1, Framber Valdez 2, because he has a proven track record. He's shown the ability to stay healthy, and he has a proven playoff track record as well. So Framber Valdez, I would at least be willing to make the case for him.
It's just hard for me to put a pitcher above a position player because I don't think it gets you to the end goal faster until you find a difference maker on the offensive side. And maybe Weatherholt becomes that, and I understand where you're coming from with it, but I feel like the pitching's important, but it's not important until you've got guys that are making differences in the game. And that's where I really feel like on a daily basis, you need somebody that when you look at the lineup, you say, that guy's going to do some damage.
A lot of texters are saying Schwarber. I put this out on Twitter, by the way, if you want to get your thoughts in.
I think
at
people
BK
are
Sports Talk.
enthralled with his 49 home runs right
It
now.
would be so fun.
When he comes here and he hits
I
25.
mean, the Cardinals wouldn't win anything with him, but it would be fun.
So on Twitter, I put out this poll asking the same question. 51% of responses are Kyle Tucker, 22% say Schwarber, and then it's about 13%, 14% for both Valdez and Dylan Cease. Schwarber would be a hell of a lot of fun to watch. I don't think it would work particularly well, and his age is something to me that would be a bit of a concern. He's 33. Power doesn't translate all that well into your late 30s typically, but he has a great batter's eye, and that's something that does tend to translate later into your career. It would be fun. That's the reckless spending.
It would be
go out
fun,
there and do.
and that's where it ends. It would be fun.
The problem is the Cardinals aren't planning to contend next year. If they were closer than they appear to be, like if it had gone well for Walker this year, and it had gone well all the way through the season for Matthew Liberatore, I could make the case for Schwarber. Because then you're like, hey, maybe we catch lightning in the bottle with J.J. Weatherholt. You added Schwarber, and now your lineup takes off. I can't do that given the way that the 2025 season has gone.
And that would make it easier for me to sign Valdez as well.
Sure.
Right? Like if you had those guys kind of take off, I go, okay, left field, maybe a bit of a question. Well, I guess Burley slides in there. Like it just feels easier. The problem for Valdez is like, even if you sign him, and I'm not even I like the player. He's probably going to get the max free deal. Problem is like he's 31, so he'll be like 32 next year. And I still, even with Valdez, I still think you're 2-3 years away. And by then, he might already kind of be starting to fall apart in year 3, 4 of that deal. But I would rank him second. Like for me,
I think he could be similar in terms of his aging curve to Sonny Gray. And I say that in a positive way, where Sonny Gray, over the last 4 years, has actually kind of been in his prime. I think something similar could be true for Valdez. Sorry, T-Bone.
Maybe. He doesn't have the swing and miss stuff that Gray does. That's where I'm a little bit hesitant on that. Like, he's got good strikeout stuff, but it's more like Merrill Kelly good than it is Sonny
Another
Gray
guy
good.
that was good late into his career.
Fair. But, like, that, I don't know. Like, just where they're at, I don't know if he makes sense. But he would be 2 on that list for me. Like, I would go Tucker 1, Valdez 2, Schwarber 3, Cease 4. And I like Cease's stuff, but he feels like an analytical darling than anything else and never puts up like the results you want.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. T-Bone, are we good for BT coming up on the other side?
Yeah, BT's good.
Brad Thompson, former Cardinals pitcher, now analyst for FanDuel Sports Midwest, will join us next year on 101 ESPN.
Alex Ferrario with you to talk about my friends out at Rhino Shield who are here to make your exterior look brand new. Whether you're home that you live in right now or you've got a business that looks worn down, that's where Rhino Shield comes into play. They changed the outlook of it because of the product that they put on it. It's not using paint. They use a product of ceramic coating that is engineered to outlast paint. It sticks 8 to 10 times thicker than what the paint is going to be. It's also 100% waterproof, so all of the moisture that we get in the fall and the springtime and in the winter, it doesn't deteriorate the ceramic coating. It also is 100 or 95% deflecting of the UV rays, so you don't have to worry about the sun deteriorating it. Plus, it's saving you a little bit of money on energy bills, blocking those UV rays out. It's all backed by a 25-year transferable warranty. We did this with our home back in 2020, and it looks still brand new today like it did prior. Plus, the customer service is great. When they come out and they do the work for you, they get the job done efficiently over a weekend. And if you got any issues, you give them a call and they'll come out and they'll touch up whatever issues that might pop up. So give them a call today. Tell Darren Alex Ferrario sent you. 877-25-RHINO, 877-25RHINO.com.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Happy to go out to the Callier and Thompson hotline to be joined by former Cardinals pitcher, now the analyst for FanDuel Sports Midwest. He is Brad Thompson, joining us as he does each and every Friday here on the show. BT, what's good, man?
Man, just hanging out here in Cincinnati. It is absolutely beautiful out. I just lost money golfing. You know, life is good.
You love to see
What'd
it.
What'd you do, BT? Did you get too confident on a drive, or you just say it's easy to lose money here?
You know what's funny? If there were a thing, I would tell you. Like if it was like, oh, my drive was erratic. Oh, my putting was a little bit off. I didn't really have the touch around the green. No, it's all of those things. Ricky Horton and I went, and I was telling him afterwards, I don't think I played one complete hole, like one good hole where it's like beginning to end. That was good. But the beauty of that game is all you got to do is hit a good shot here and there, and you'll keep coming back.
It's a fickle beast, BT. It always brings you back in, doesn't it? You have that one good drive, you're like, oh, I'm coming back for more.
Turns out if you only play once every couple months, too, you're not going to get that good at it. Because I think the last time I played, we were playing the White Sox in Chicago. So it's been a hot minute.
BT, what you were just describing to me sounds a lot like that Jordan Walker home run from yesterday. That's why I keep coming back. I just keep believing for that swing right there.
What a transition.
Look at you with this segue. I mean, that was perfect.
Yeah, it was.
That was perfect. Way to bring it back to baseball right there. Nice work. You're not wrong. You're not wrong on something because we keep doing it, right? We do it over and over again, and we're like, all right, well, this is what he is, and hey, this is a finished product, not going to get any better. I guarantee you that there are some fans that have written him off, and then we forget he's 23 years old and he's still trying to figure out, and he shows on a swing like that. His arm, like that wasn't his best swing. Arms that are not connected. He's way away from his body, and then able to power up and just get the barrel to a baseball, a slider that's on the corner to hit it out of the ballpark in a huge spot. Like, you hope that ends up being another one of those momentum moments for him. And same thing for Sajacy, who has stepped up. But it's a great point. Like, you see some of that raw power from him, and then you've seen some of the adjustments that he's trying to make, and it gets you excited about what the future could look like. So the question continues to be, like, how long does that, we'll use the term runway, like how long does that keep on going? How many, and what would be nice, like when you have a 23, and I get it, we have a lot of young players, and that's kind of the point that I'm getting to here. It would be so nice to have a 23-year-old Jordan Walker in a lineup where you didn't need him, where it's just like, hey, hit eighth and just go through the ropes, and you'll learn, because we have a bunch of veterans that can do the offensive heavy lifting, and then when it gets to you'll start taking your reps and you'll be good to go. They just don't have that. Like, this lineup top to bottom kind of needs everybody at this point, so there is no like leeway of easing into things.
BT, Ollie said this yesterday after the game, that it feels like you're seeing progress with Jordan Walker. Do you feel like you're seeing that with him? Because I know he's had these last couple of months where it's been looking really good, and then it's dropped back down to what we've seen earlier on in his career.
Yeah, no, I do think you are, and I think that we've talked about this in the past. Like, there have been times where we had been told, hey, Jordan is working on some things in his swing, and he's trying A, B, and C, and then you watch the game, and you're like, he's trying what? Like A, B, and C? I don't see any one of these. I don't see any of the letters that you say he's working on. But recently, you have seen it. Over the last month plus, you've seen him really closing off his stance a little bit, him not collapsing on that back knee, because it's hard to be powerful when you're losing your entire backside. And then the swing decisions for him, while you're going to fall into some bad at-bats, you're going to fall into a bad day, a bad week here and there, the decisions in large part have been better, and that's just him putting in the reps, the mental reps, too, of knowing how he's going to continue to be attacked. So, yes, I think you've seen real changes to his swing and then real changes to his approach, and that's the only way you're going to continue to see progress in the game, and he's doing it.
Brad Thompson's our guest here on 101 ESPN. You can watch him on the call for the Cardinals on FanDuel Sports Midwest. He's a former Cardinals pitcher. He joins us each and every Friday here on BK and Ferrario. BT, there are a couple of players that are expected to make their debuts for the Cardinals in the near future. Jimmy Crooks, Cesar Prieto, both getting the call up today. Corresponding moves, sounds like Alec Burleson headed for the IL. Joe Pozo also headed for the IL with a potential concussion. What have you heard about what fans can expect from both Crooks and Prieto?
Well, look, Prieto came over from Baltimore, as you guys know, and all he's done is hit at every level. And we've had an opportunity to get eyes on him, and he's a good hitter. Like he's not. It's not like you're calling up, J.J. Weatherholt, but you're calling up a guy that has hit. And in the case of Jimmy Crooks, it's interesting when you go 2 decades with one catcher in the big leagues. You don't need depth. And then all of a sudden, you have 4 of your top 10 prospects being at the catcher position. And again, you want to talk about somebody that is hit. And by the way, I've heard nothing but good things about him behind the plate, game calling, mentally. He is engaged. But this is a guy that hit 21 doubles so far in Memphis this year. He's got home run power with 14 of them, and I think it'll be a nice addition. Right? You hated that guys have to go on the IL. I hate losing Burley, especially at this point. Pozo took that hot shot yesterday. That is tough. But it's another opportunity. And the interesting part this year, and Rick Horton and I were talking about this earlier this week, is the Cardinals this season, they've only had 3 major league debuts. Like, as young of a team as it is, they've only had 3 debuts coming into action today. And I think it was Swanson, Church, and Granillo were the 3. Last year, I think they had 9. I think the year before there was 8. And then the year prior, 2023, it was like an average of 30 over the 3 years. So an average of 10. Like, this is a young squad in general where everybody is kind of learning on the ropes with like a year or 2 under their belt. So we've talked a lot about minor league depth and the lack of it at the upper minor league levels. I'm not sure if that's fair since you've had 30 different guys graduate to the big leagues over the last 3+ years. I think the Cardinals have ran through a lot of their minor league depth, but they get a chance to see some more of it today.
BT, I don't know if we'll get to see Jimmy Crooks at all this weekend. My guess is we're going to see him at least once behind the plate. What's that like from a player's perspective? Because I'm sure you've thrown, other than Yachty, you've thrown to catchers before that have been at the majors for the first time. Is that difficult for the catcher, or is that difficult for the pitcher?
You know what? It's going to be more of a crash course for the catcher. And you do have some guys, if they're used to working with somebody, that they're on the same page. But you do have the ability now to, you always could shake off, and you have pitch comm, right? So if guys really want to take it into their own hands, because, Crooks is not going to know each one of these guys, how they like to attack, as much as he's going to dig in, and I'm sure that has already begun, right? His onboarding when it comes to all of the pitchers. And even if he's not playing, he'll prepare as he is. It's way tougher on him to be able to do all of that. Now, he's going to know some of these guys from spring training and probably remember some things, but the way you attack is going to be different at the big league level. So I'm guessing from an input standpoint for Jimmy Crooks, he'll be drinking out of a fire hose. Like, that's what the next couple days are going to be like. But there's nothing like drinking out of a fire hose in the big leagues. It just tastes better.
BT, we'll get you out of here on this. My understanding is that Ohio has legalized sports betting. You interested in any of these games over the weekend for college football? We got a few good ones. LSU versus Clemson, Texas, Ohio State, Notre Dame versus Miami coming up on Sunday. You going to be having a close eye on any of these in particular?
Well, I am now. Now they got me all excited. PD Parlay is going to get ready to roll on this one. Just see
you and
see
Alex
if I
will
can
go
put
in on
together
one
a
together.
10-legger.
Like.
Yeah, I was going to say, text me, BT. We get
deal.
like 15 games and one bet. We'll get a boatload for us.
That's what the professional bettors do. They just put together big parlays. Mm-hmm. They love those. Yeah, I'm excited, right? Big weekend. I have not dug into any of the matchups yet. That is one of the things. I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. They were asking me about a trade that happened. And I'm like, you know what? It's kind of a refreshing thing that I haven't been as dialed into everything all the time. But in 3 weeks or a month when the season is over, then it's dive back in time because I need a hobby. I need something to do, and sports tends to be that hobby.
It is a healthier thing for your mental state, probably.
Not healthy for the wallet,
to cover all of this on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, yeah. No, you guys know it's ever consuming, right? If you in the job that you do and the job that I do during baseball season, I feel like if I do anything other than if I read something that is not related to the job, I feel like I'm cheating on my job. Or if I watch something that is like a movie, I'm like, well, I could be watching a game. Like it's sickening what we do to ourselves, but we love it.
BT, we'll get you out of here on this one. Baseball related. We just answered this question in the last segment. I'm curious your quick thoughts. If Cardinals ownership came to you and said, BT, don't worry about the money. We are willing to sign one of these players this offseason in order to expedite the rebuild. And you get to choose which of these 4 players they sign.
Ooh, okay, go ahead.
Would you sign Kyle Schwarber, Kyle Tucker, Framber Valdez, or Dylan Cease?
Oh, crap.
Don't say all of them.
I am going to, I can't do that. I'm going to take out of those. It's so hard. I need a pitcher so bad, but I don't think that you're ready. Like, that one guy is not going to push you over the edge. I'm going to take Kyle Tucker. Who did you guys pick?
I think that's the right answer.
We all took Tucker.
Yeah. I made the case for Framber Valdez because of basically what you said. You could really use a pitcher, and I don't see anybody other than Doyle that's really coming up that changes that. But, man, Tucker is like 26 years old, so you get to have him for the next, 7 years in his prime, potentially. It feels like that's the right answer.
It's the only one that makes sense, right? Schwarber would love to have Kyle Schwarber. That would be fantastic. They probably didn't want to pay him a couple of years ago after a career year. He's doing it again, but money doesn't matter in this scenario. Tucker's the answer for sure. But as much as I would love to have Valdez at the top of the rotation.
Yeah. And also, you hurt the Cubs, which doesn't hurt. All right, BT, enjoy yourself out there in Cincinnati this weekend. Enjoy the legalized sports betting. We'll talk with you again soon.
All right, gentlemen. I'll talk to you later.
Take it easy. That's Brad Thompson joining us as he does each and every Friday here on BK and Ferrario. Appreciate his time as always.
I'm putting together a 15-legger with BT. I'm sending it to him right now.
This is a good weekend to do it. It's a great weekend of college football. My wife is going to be so annoyed. She said yesterday, she's like, forgot what college football season is like.
That's why you golf on Saturday, so you can have it on your phone while you're golfing.
Yes.
Got it. You don't have to worry about it.
That does nothing for me. I'm good.
Sorry, Mr. Fancy Pants.
No, I mean, I feel like golfing is the fancier thing to do here.
No.
Tomorrow at 11 o'clock, Texas versus Ohio State. Then at 2:30, I don't think this is going to be a good game, but Alabama versus Florida State. I don't know what Alabama's going to look like, so I will watch the game because I'm curious what they end up looking like. And then later on that evening, you've got LSU versus Clemson. And then that goes straight into Sunday night where we've got Notre Dame versus Miami.
And then Bill Belichick on Monday night.
Dude, that'll play. And I didn't even mention tonight, you've got the Illini on Peacock.
You didn't have
Phil
to.
Sims on the call.
Yeah.
How about that?
You didn't have
That's
to mention
surprising.
them. I'll just check the scoreboard afterwards.
Being more honest, there's other intriguing games. We'll watch the Illinois, but, Colorado plays. They play...
That's an interesting matchup.
Why am I drawing Georgia Tech? I think that's who they play.
Yeah, Georgia Tech's actually a 4.5-point favorite in that one, by the way.
And that feels about right, if I'm being honest.
Auburn versus Baylor, two
Which will be
teams that
interesting.
desperately need a win.
Yeah. I like Baylor in that one.
I think I like
Dem Bears.
I like Baylor fine.
I just don't trust Hugh Freeze and Auburn.
I trust Hugh Freeze. I don't trust their quarterback. I don't think Jackson Arnold's any good.
That's kind of a big problem, but
It's not great.
Yeah,
All right, coming
like I
up
said with
next,
Mizzou, it's
speaking of
fine.
college football, the Big Ten didn't exactly pass its test last night. What does it mean for them and for the Illini? We'll talk about it next year on 101 ESPN. Hey, it's BK, and it is time to unlock your inner champion with Victory Men's Health. Now is the time to do so. Go to their website, victorymenshealth.com. I'll say it one more time, victorymenshealth.com. When you get there, you can book your first appointment, put in your name, email, phone number, tell them BK with 101 ESPN sent you. Here's why you got to do it. Because when you go over there, they can help you out with whatever it is that is preventing you from unlocking that inner champion. Whether that is erectile dysfunction, weight loss goals that you're trying to meet that you just haven't been able to on your own. It could be low testosterone. Some of those symptoms include not having the same energy that you once did. You go to the workouts and you go through the entire thing. It used to give you real results, and now it's not giving you the same impact. That could be a result of low testosterone. They can check those levels for you over at Victory Men's Health. They have 4 great locations in O'Fallon, Missouri, O'Fallon, Illinois, Sunset Hills, and in Town and Country. And when you go over there, they are going to help you out by unlocking your inner champion today. So check them out online. It's online at victorymenshealth.com. That's victorymenshealth.com.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals beat the Pirates yesterday 4-1 as they split their 4-game set with Pittsburgh. Tonight they start a 3-game set at the Cincinnati Reds. 5:40 will be first pitch. Matthew Liberatore will get the start for St. Louis, and the Cardinals will be calling up Cesar Prieto and Jimmy Crooks. Corresponding moves expected to be Alec Burleson and Yoel Pozo going to the IL. And Missouri took down Central Arkansas last night 61-6, and Illinois kicks off their season tonight as they take on Western Illinois. This Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See Londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. So, T-Bone, your Big Ten didn't exactly impress last night. Missouri looked great against their level of competition. And then I looked over, and to be fair, like Central Arkansas ain't the same as, like, going up against Cincinnati, for example. But I didn't expect one of the sleeper contenders for a college football playoff spot in Nebraska to struggle the way they did last night against Cincinnati. Wisconsin was up 3-0 at halftime against Miami of Ohio. That was a home game. Rutgers only won by 3 at home against Ohio. Minnesota went into the fourth quarter against Buffalo. Remember when Mizzou beat the crap out of Buffalo last year, Alex? Mm-hmm. That same Buffalo team went on the road this year to Minnesota and was only down 13-10 going into the fourth quarter.
They lost all their best players, probably.
Apparently. T-Bone, what happened to your Big Ten last night? Because the middle of the conference looked shaky at best.
The Cincinnati one's explainable. Taylor Swift was in attendance, but other ones go.
Yeah, Raiola was probably nervous. His idol, Patrick Mahomes, was there as well.
No, Taylor Swift.
Sure, but Dylan Raiola modeled his entire game. He's got his number. He's got the haircut. He, does the same entrance thing, everything. He even runs the way that Patrick Mahomes does.
Does he do that stupid thing with his hands that I hate about Patrick Mahomes?
He doesn't do that necessarily, but when he, ran onto the field, there's a video that you can find online right now. He does the exact same entrance as Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. It's wild. It's almost like he's doing some kind of, method acting. It's crazy.
Lost just like Patrick Mahomes does.
First off, I don't want to own the Big Ten.
They won, just to be clear.
I don't want to own the Big Ten because I said all along when we were talking about this for the last 2 weeks, for any article you would read was very high on the middle of the pack in the Big Ten. And I said, I don't know if I see that. And last night was very much an encouraging sign for the Illini that the middle of the pack of the Big Ten may be pretty weak because 2 of those teams are on their schedule this year. They will see Rutgers and they will see Wisconsin this year. And those teams were not impressive, as you said, which makes me think, okay, if Illinois is at the level that I think they are, those should be games that instead of being 50-50 are now 55-45 or 60-40 in their favor. And that's big for them. And especially adding on top of that, throw Duke under the bus here. Duke was not good against Elon last night. They were tied 10-10 at the half. So I thought last night was a very encouraging sign for fighting Illini fans of, okay, the Big Ten doesn't look that strong. It feels like already in week 1, and we'll see what other teams look like as we get going here, it feels like it's going to be your typical Big Ten year, which is, hey, there's 3 elite teams where you're going to have, and maybe honestly just 2, Ohio State, Penn State will be up there, maybe Oregon will get up there as well, maybe Michigan will get up there. Outside of that, this conference is not going to be showing the kind of depth that I expect from the SEC this year.
That's what I was going to ask. Does that mean Illinois is your 3rd, 4th best team in the Big Ten?
They have the potential to be.
Penn State.
We haven't seen them either. Just to be clear, part of what we saw last night, Nebraska had real expectations coming into this season. And they didn't look like they took a step offensively, which is what everybody had been predicting all offseason. Maybe Cincinnati is better defensively than we thought. That's also possible. A couple of years ago, I remember LSU versus USC went into the season. I was like, whoa, look at this. There's talent all over the place. That was the year that Miller Moss was a sensation coming off of week 1. And then we learned, it's because LSU doesn't play any defense. That was the problem there. And neither of those 2 teams were any good going into that season. So maybe there's something to that. And Cincinnati just becomes a 9-3 type of a team this year. John Scores over on YouTube says, you guys are drawing way too many conclusions coming off of one game. Maybe. Part of this, though, is we don't have a damn clue about any of these teams. Boise State was a top 25 team going into last night. Boise State got mollywopped by South Florida 34-7.
That was the one where I was like, I saw it too, and I'm like, how was this team ranked 25th going into the season?
Yeah, and the answer is because you trust the helmet. You trust the logo. It's the same thing we're doing this year with Alabama or like Ohio State, right? They've got a decent amount of returning production, but you trust the logo, you trust the coach, you trust the program. That's basically all it is nowadays. Because, dude, nobody actually knows. We don't know who these teams are going to be in 2025. Half the damn rosters have turned over since the end of last season. It's like if the NFL, every year half of your team was a free agent, and then we tried to make sense of who's going to be good or bad going into any given season. College football is already topsy-turvy outside of the top 12. Now it's just even more so because teams can get really good and they can get really bad quickly with the transfer portal. So I think Illinois is going to be very good this season. I think they have a chance to be. They return a ton of production. That's part of why I feel that way. But, man, I don't know. I really don't. You could end up in a situation where nobody steps up to replace Pat Bryant, who was a really good player for them a year ago and made some big-time plays for the Illini. You know, you look at a team like Boise State. You mentioned this in the office, Alex. Why were they good last year? I don't know. That Ashton Genty guy sure looks good.
Generational player was on their team who literally set like college football records.
Absolutely. That's a big part of it. So the idea that we can just go into the season and project what these teams are going to be, it's laughable, honestly. It's part of why yesterday I went into Mizzou's game like with excitement and anticipation, but with the understanding, I don't know for sure how this is going to go. And I feel the same way about the Big Ten. And last night, all we've got, as John Scorns mentioned, was one game to go off of. And sure, we're going to have too many takeaways from it, but they didn't pass their first test. They've had one test thus far, and almost every single one of them failed with like spectacularly.
Yeah,
it was rough.
Typically, if you have struggles against non-power conference teams, there is a chance that you ran into one that is just like one of the best of the non-group of five, right? Like there's like Illinois one year played Toledo, barely beat Toledo, and I went, oh my God, what is wrong with Brett Bielema? He's not figuring this out. Turned out Toledo went like 11-2 that year. So Toledo was one of the best of the non-group of four teams. Most of them are not that though, you know, and that's where this is, you may say this is an overreaction. There's probably one or two of these we probably are overreacting on. But if you have a tough time against a team from the MAC, a team from Conference USA, odds are you're going to struggle once you start to see the big boys in your conference. And that's why like some of these, like Nebraska, that one you don't have to reach maybe too much into because Cincinnati is now technically part of the Power Four. But Riola didn't look that great, right? Like Riola is supposed to be taking this next step, and he didn't show it last night. When you're a team like Minnesota, you should beat the crap out of Buffalo, like Missouri did last year. And no coincidence, and you'll see this hopefully tonight with Illinois, and hopefully when you see some of these others, like Florida, for example, they play some school I didn't even know was in the FCS. A top 25 team will look like a top 25 team on the field. You can see it, right? Missouri looked like a top 25 team last night, and I don't just say that because they played Central Arkansas. They did a lot of things right in that process. The thing that could hold them back is their O-line, but they looked like a fringe top 25 team.
Now, the counter argument to what we said is what Mizzou looked like a couple of years ago. Remember, early in the season, they did not look great against South Dakota. They looked flat out bad against Middle Tennessee and had to hang on for dear life to be able to win that game. And Gabe has mentioned this a number of times, Gabe DeArmond of Power Mizzou. He talked to people within the program after that Middle Tennessee game that were like, whew, we're going to have to battle to get to 6-6 this year. That's not people covering the team. That is people within the program that said that. And that was 2 games into the season. Then they beat K-State on that walk-off kick. They come to St. Louis, have that horrible game against Memphis, and then they kind of take off from there, and they became the team that we knew them to be in 2023, and they found their identity. Cody Schrader was an absolute stud for them. They had a great season, go 10-2. It's one of the better years in program history. We know how the season ended. That's the exception to the rule. The norm is you have those weird early season games and you become the 2016 version of Missouri football where they gave up 43 points against Missouri State and they just never got back on track. So there are exceptions. Maybe Nebraska can become that exception, but it doesn't happen all that often. You guys want to pick a couple of these games going into this weekend, Alex? It's a fun one.
They're not for punishment, right?
No. This is our gimme week.
Good.
Next week, we officially start up the BK and Ferrario Pick'em Challenge, where each month we'll have some kind of a punishment that's associated.
And let's make it tough, too. Let's pick, like, the hard games. Let's not do any of this, like, because I know T-Bone, this is his thing. He goes for the teams that's like a 40-point favorite, and he knows it's going to hit.
I don't do that.
This week, we'll just do the big games. We used to do it where you could pick from a certain pool of games. We're not doing that this year. You get to pick whatever the hell you want to, but it's just the sides, not the totals.
No, I didn't. BK sucked at that
versus Ohio State. I suck at all of them. Texas versus Ohio State, 11 a.m. tomorrow. Huge game. Number 1 versus number 3. Ohio State right now is a 1.5-point favorite on their home field. So it's effectively on a neutral site. Basically a pick 'em between the two teams. Alex, who you got, Ohio State or Texas in this one?
I've got Ohio State plus 1.5. I think it's going to be close. And the concern picking Ohio State over Texas here is Ohio State doesn't really know anything with the quarterback. It's an unknown for them. But I think being a home game, being such a big game, and just the pedigree of Ohio State, I think plus 1.5, I'd go the Buckeyes.
I'm going with Texas. I think Texas wins on the road here. I don't know if it's me falling for the Arch Manning hype, but when we've seen him, I think he's looked fine. The other thing for me is Ohio State has so much that is turned over, right? The roster, the quarterback, the coordinators are now all different. And Matt Patricia's your answer at DC?
It worked in the NFL.
No. I would say I'm going with the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah, I've got some questions about Ohio State. I also have some questions about Texas, though. And Arch Manning starting on the road, week 1, first real big-time start for him. There's going to be huge pressure on him. I don't think this is going to amount to them not being a part of the college football playoff conversation or anything like that. But I do think that Ohio State pulls away in this one. I think they will get the win. But as I mentioned, none of us know a damn thing about any of these teams. So I will be going with Ohio State despite the fact that we know absolutely nothing.
My bold prediction, Ohio State misses the playoff this year.
Wow.
I said that in our Big Ten preview. I think this could be a bad year. I think this is a 9-3, 8-4 year for Ohio State.
Don't get me wrong. I'd celebrate that. I don't like Ryan Day's face.
All right, later on that evening,
with that year.
Other top 10 matchup is LSU on the road at Death Valley in Clemson. Clemson's a 4.5-point favorite in this one. Alex, who you like in this one?
I like LSU in this one.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the SEC's stronger in this one. I'm just uncertain with Clemson. We've had the conversations, and I know they're a little bit more excited with this one, but I'm going LSU as the home team of +4.
I'm going with Clemson. I think the Clemson Tigers will win this one. Brian Kelly has a weird LSU over the last couple of years have had their struggles. I'm not 100% convinced he's been able to fix the defense. Though I'm not that high on Clemson, I think this might be there where Dabo Swinney's able to get that one big win out of non-con and then take care of business in the ACC.
They return top 5 production in all of college football. I say we don't know who any of these teams are. We have a decent idea on Clemson. That is one of the reasons why I think they're going to be better early in the season. It's also at home. Clemson's a really difficult place to play. LSU has had their issues away from their Death Valley in previous seasons under Brian Kelly. I'm going to go Clemson minus the 4.5 on this one as well. Next big game, Notre Dame on the road at Miami. I know where T-Bone stands on this one, so Alex, I'm going to start with him. T-Bone, who are you taking? Number 5, Notre Dame, or number 10, Miami, Sunday night?
Give me Miami. I don't like Carson Beck, but I'm going to bet on a guy that's got experience in college football compared to Notre Dame, who's going with the unknown at C.J. Carr at quarterback position. Miami's defense is a little worrisome. That's the one thing I think that, because they were awful last year, one thing that could make this where it really flips on me here. But I'm still going to trust Carson Beck to get the job done.
I don't know if I mentioned this. Notre Dame is a 2.5-point road favorite, by the way. T-Bone, you like Miami on the money line, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Alex?
I don't like Carson Beck, and I don't think he's going to have success, so I have Notre Dame on this one.
We're riding together on this one. We're riding together on Ohio State. I am going with Notre Dame to go on the road and beat Miami. I like the running game that Notre Dame has, and I do not like Carson Beck either, Alex. I do not trust him in a big spot like this in week 1. I like the Notre Dame defense plus their running game to be able to overtake Miami.
He had his blankie in Georgia. He doesn't have that blankie anymore.
Yeah, it's going to be a little different for him at Miami. With Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Mike McKenna, former NHL goalie, joins us coming up in about 15 minutes. But next, time for the junk drawer here on BK and Ferrario. Serious. With Alex and T-Bone on BK, it's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. Alex, I've got more of an explanation as to why I don't like oysters. Are you an oyster guy?
No.
We never talked about
I
this
don't
before.
even know if I don't think I've... it's not true. I've had oysters once, and it was nasty, and I said never again.
It's a texture thing for me. I just can't do it.
I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I remember we tried them in Boston when we went a few years ago, and it was this place that's like known for their oysters, right? People love it. They go in there, they slurp them down.
Oh,
you have
see,
the
that's the
juices
thing.
that are in them,
You
whatever.
say slurp, you have to slurp them, and I'm out.
That's right. 2 are dead after getting flesh-eating bacteria from eating raw oysters. More than 20 Louisiana residents have contracted this virus, which can cause illness when a person eats raw or undercooked seafood.
Oh, God.
I know there was that guy that passed away recently from a flesh-eating bacteria.
I found out it was a buddy of mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a guy who played on our softball team. That's his brother.
Oh, my God.
I didn't find out until a couple of days after, obviously, but, jeez. Like, it went...
Now I feel bad for bringing that up.
No, I mean,
I'm sorry for your
well,
loss.
I mean, I wasn't as close to him. I was close with his brother, obviously playing softball, but I knew of him, and it's like him detailing how fast that happened. I'm only bringing it up because, like, hearing the story about it is the part that was wild to me, and I mean, whether it's the lake or something like that, it always makes me wonder now. It's like how fast something like that can happen.
Yeah, so apparently this virus naturally occurs in warm coastal waters, more commonly between May and October. It can lead to an illness when an open wound is exposed to these waters or when a person eats raw or undercooked seafood.
That's the thing with
Raw
sushi,
oysters
too.
being one of the potential causes. So far, 22 cases have led to hospitalizations that have been reported among just Louisiana residents. More than 80% of those stemmed from exposure of open wounds as opposed to something that they had eaten.
And people eat sushi all of the time. But
I like sushi.
That's the part.
my
Is this why you're out sometimes for food poisoning?
That's part of the reason why I've never really gotten into sushi, because it's like, man, like I don't do raw anything. So like raw fish, and I know it's like it's cool, people do it, but oof, I don't want to take the chance.
We got somebody on the text line that said, this is why you stick with Rocky Mountain oysters.
T-Bone?
Raw bull
Does somebody
testicles?
sell?
I was gonna say, is that what those? Yeah, I think we've had
Does
this
somebody sell
conversation.
Rocky Mountain oysters in St. Louis?
I would assume so, right?
Are you thinking punishment idea?
Yep.
Ugh.
Top 10.
Order Rocky Mountain oysters near me from DoorDash. Let's find out if there's any option. Oh, it says like we can go to Schnucks and get them. I'm going to guess that's probably not the case.
There's this AI might be like trying to punk me here. There's an exotic meat market that sells them online in Uranus Testicle Festival. I'm getting punked by AI, right?
Yeah, that's got to be the case.
Yeah, it's never wrong.
Broadway Oyster Bar says they have them.
That makes sense.
I could see that. That's
That
the one
makes
down
sense.
by the ballpark, right?
Oh, yeah. We're so
That's a good spot,
getting
though.
those for one of the punishments.
That makes sense.
Man.
I would do that for a punishment. I
Rocky
don't-
Mountain oysters?
Yeah, I would eat those. Wouldn't you, T-Bone?
No,
You really wouldn't?
no, that's disgusting.
I would do it for a punishment. I mean, I wouldn't like willingly
I
go
mean,
to
no,
a
I was
bar
gonna say
and be
I'd
like,
do
yeah, I'm
it,
gonna
but it's a
order the
punishment.
Rocky Mountain
Is it a
oysters.
shellfish? Can we call it a shellfish?
No. It's a
I mean,
testicle.
Bull testicles. So no,
Does
I don't
that
think
sound like a shellfish to you?
Bull is. I don't think that you could classify that
If you're
as
allergic to
It's not
shellfish,
coming
I
from a
think you're-
shell, man.
Yeah. Damn.
I think that's going to be. I told you guys in the office we all need to submit 2 punishments, and we pick 4 of the best.
You're never going to believe this, Alex, but Uranus Testicle Festival is a real thing. It is held every year in Uranus, Missouri, which is apparently a real place.
Well, Uranus, Missouri is. I go to the fudge factory all the time. When
Wait,
you go to
where
Branson,
is that?
there's a fudge factory in Uranus as you're driving towards Branson.
Yeah.
And my wife hates when we drive to Branson because I make all of the jokes to my daughters saying, Adelaide, look, they got a gas station in Uranus.
I mean, maybe this is part of the punishment is whoever ends up
Has to
losing
go to
this has
Uranus?
to go to Uranus.
It's like a
and documenting it as they go. How far is this?
it's like an hour and a half drive, I think.
3-hour round
Oh my
trip.
gosh. We have to, and you know what the punishment should be? The loser does not know when, like the 2 guys that didn't lose will pick when the person has to go, and the guy that has to go doesn't know when it is. So at midnight, we could text BK and be like, hey, man, you got to drive to Uranus and go get us
It's not
something.
fair because we text you at midnight. You're not going to be up.
Yeah.
Well, how do you know? I wake up
Halfway
and
to
go.
Springfield. We could do this on our way to go see the Springfield Cardinals as long as we get this done within the next 3 weeks.
I don't think we're going to.
Okay.
We can get it done in 3 weeks. That'd be the end of September, right?
Maybe next year. Oh, we should just hold
When is
that
it?
punishment off till next year. We could see Liam Doyle pitching for the Springfield
When is it again?
Cardinals.
What
The date of it.
Oh, when is that?
The festival.
The festival? That
Yeah.
I would have to check.
I was going to say, we could make that a punishment. He's really Googling when the Uranus Testicle Festival is.
How about a T-shirt?
Stalter's going to be like, what is this?
Yeah, leave that tab open for stalls.
I would love a T-shirt, by the way, from the Uranus Testicle Festival.
It's the Uranus Testicle Festival. That's what it's called.
Make sure you put Uranus Testicle Festival. Don't just miss one of the words.
Don't forget Uranus.
Get ready for it. June 17th of
damn it.
2025.
We
so we'll
missed
have to
it.
wait until next year.
All right. Well, maybe
I would
that'll
go to that.
Right now, my calendar's open, it looks like.
Sorry, the Blues will be playing in the Stanley Cup at that point.
Oh,
They'll be
wait.
out.
Well, then maybe my calendar will be full.
Yeah, the Uranus Fudge Factory is world famous.
I've never been there.
Oh yeah, every time we drive to Branson, it's always
The oldest testicle festival takes place in Byron, Illinois.
Where the
It
heck
features
is that?
turkey testicles.
Ooh.
Similar festivals are held in
Gobble,
Deerfield,
gobble.
Michigan,
How old are we talking?
Olean, Missouri, Tiro, Ohio, Huntley, Illinois. T-Bone, is that close to you?
Never even heard of Huntley, Illinois.
Stillwater, Oklahoma. I wonder if that is somewhere that Matt Holliday would consider going. Severance, Colorado, and Bentonville, Arkansas.
Huntley, Illinois is so small it's called a village, not even a town.
Some of those feature Rocky Mountain oysters. The Montana State Society has held an annual Rocky Mountain Oyster Festival in Clinton, Montana since 2005.
I'd like you to go get me some fudge from Uranus.
Every year in September, certain villages host the World Gonad Cooking Competition. The festival serves up a variety of testicles, including wildlife. It also gives awards to ballsy newsmakers, including U.S. presidents such as Donald Trump and Barack Obama.
Oh, come on, man.
I'm reading the news.
You had to read that.
It's both sides,
No.
Donald Trump
Hey,
and Barack
hey,
Obama.
Screw you, man.
Oh, boy.
Got awards from this.
There was this skit in the old episodes of Jackass where Johnny Knoxville goes to a town called My Anus, and he just walks around and asks people about My Anus, and it was just phenomenal. So when I found
rock.
Uranus, I said, this is the perfect spot to go.
This segment went off the rails real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Scores, clip that off. T-Bone, you never been to Broadway Oyster Bar? Come on, man.
No, I had been.
Okay.
That's a good spot, I said.
Coming up next.
Gator, we gave my buddy fried turkey testicles and told him they were chicken nuggets. We would not be friends after that.
I'm willing to eat those.
You want turkey testicles?
I mean, I'd eat them, sure. I'm willing to try just about anything.
Oh.
I can't tell you
Did
that
you
I'm
try
going
a
to like
pig's
it.
eye? I've done that before.
Yeah.
What about cow tongue?
Yeah. I've actually had cow tongue on a taco.
What?
You can go down to Cherokee Street right now and get that.
That's disgusting. You're filthy. You won't put white gelatinous stuff on your food, but
Yeah,
you're not going to
no.
eat a cow tongue on a taco.
Yeah.
I like how bold he is. Like, he's acting tough. He's like, I'll eat anything. Doesn't matter. I'm going to come up with something, and you're going to have to eat it.
I mean, texturally, there are a lot of things like I'm not a fan of cow tongue. It's not for me. But a lot of people really like it.
Mystery meat. That's what it's going to be. I'm not going to tell you what it is.
I would like to know what it is beforehand.
Nope.
To
That's
make
not
sure
the
that
punishment.
It's something that I'm allowed to eat.
Oh,
That's
it's
part of it.
Yeah,
like T-Bone acting if he can have a Rocky Mountain oyster if it's shellfish.
I'm allergic to shellfish and Rocky Mountain oyster.
With Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Coming up next, we'll talk to Mike McKenna, former NHL goalie here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here to tell you about my friends at DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, which is coming soon to the Show Me State. Later this football season, you'll be able to bet same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more right here in Missouri. Whether you're backing Kansas City to dominate on Sundays or sweating your hockey picks, DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you want to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when DraftKings Sportsbook goes live in Missouri, you'll be betting from home with the top-rated sportsbook trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and ready to deliver the action like never before. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use my code TANNER now to gear up for launch in Missouri and be first in line for exclusive promos and can't-miss offers. That's code TANNER in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook, subject to regulatory licensing requirements.
Olean, Missouri, home of the annual Testicle Festival, is right over by the Lake of the Ozarks. Alex, this takes place in June, it looks like.
Okay.
We could do a show trip.
It's pretty hot out to have a testicle festival, though.
I mean, we could try it out. We could go to the festival, and then we could hang out at the Lake of the Ozarks for a weekend.
Use a better word than hang out.
And then that weekend, we could finish it off by going down to Springfield, watching a Springfield Cardinals game next year. Maybe we see Liam Doyle T-Bone. This might be the move. We could do something like that next year.
Look, man, I don't like traveling with you guys in general. I'm not going to a testicle festival with you both.
Mike McKenna would probably join us. He joins us now via the Callier and Thompson hotline. Former NHL goalie. He joins us each and every Friday via the Callier and Thompson hotline. Mike, have you ever had Rocky Mountain oysters before?
No, I haven't, guys, but I never really expected to come on air and talk about testicles right off the bat. So this is a new one for me. Thank you for that. It's great to talk to you, Alex and BK.
I like to call ourselves unicorns, Mike, because we can pretty much do whatever you'd think on the radio station.
We'll find a way to make something work. All right, let's get into hockey, though. That's what we're here to talk about with you, Mike. We do it each and every Friday here at BK and Ferrario.
Festival talk.
Our friend Mike McKenna joins us on behalf of the great people over at Macadoodles. Mike, earlier this week, we talked about Jimmy Snuggerud and how he kind of fits into what the Blues are going to do in 2025. The hype is certainly there. When you think about his role next to Robert Thomas, do you think he is the most likely pairing mate, not just for this upcoming year, but for the next 5 years as, you know, the Robin to Robert Thomas's Batman?
Well, it's definitely the hope. And we have such a limited viewing of Jimmy Snuggerud so far to try to find out if he will be that guy. Now, the hard part that's always going to kind of plague the Blues here, and it's a good problem, not a bad one, though, is that I still think no matter what, Jordan Kyrou has played his best hockey alongside Robert Thomas. So is Snuggerud going to be the one who really takes that place, or would it be somebody else coming through the pipeline that they end up being a better fit? And I think in today's NHL, though, you find that these lines can be so malleable. They can change. You know, it's not a foregone conclusion that maybe it's Snuggerud for 2/3 of a season and they kick Kyrou back to get going again. We don't know the answer to that. So, you know, I'm definitely encouraged to see what can happen. But, you know, Snuggerud, 24, 20 goals in college, good numbers, everything. We're so excited. He's a first-round pick. He looked great last year. He can skate. He can lug the puck. He can shoot the puck. We still don't know who he is yet. We just don't. And this is a prove-it year for a guy who's a rookie. Isn't that like, talk about pressure on yourself, you know? But I think the potential is definitely there. And it's really the way Snuggerud, again, he can keep up with Thomas. He can think on his feet. And I think he's going to be a really nice piece on the power play as well, which, again, feeds into what Thomas's strengths are.
Mike, since we're talking about Robert Thomas, the guy that's already been connected to him has been Pavel Buchnevich, and the struggles that he had last year are kind of understandable thanks to the centerman position that was just not working early on in the season. Do you feel like Pavel Buchnevich is what we've seen these last couple of years, or do you think he can get back to what we saw in that first year with the Blues where he was a 30-goal scorer?
I kind of wish Pavel had a contract year every year. And it's just reality. His best seasons have been when he's had dollars on the line. So are we going to see the best out of Pavel Buchnevich? We didn't see it at the start of last season. I mean, he was a ghost until into 2025 for me. I still think that Buch is a 70-point player, 65 to 70-point player. Now, in today's world, is that a first-line player? Yeah. I mean, for the most part, you're still going to see him on the left side on that line. But he can't have another slow start. That can't happen. And the nice part now is that the Blues have some bullets in the chamber on the left side. They're actually really deep on the left side, guys. I mean, you've got Buchnevich, Holloway, Neighbors, Shen can play the left side. Torpchenko's there on a lower line. So you really got four players who can vie for that role. And honestly, I don't think there's anything that does prevent Jake Neighbors from ever playing top-line minutes when it's called upon. So I do think Buch is a great fit on that first line. Will he remain there? He's got to prove it. He has to have a good start to the season.
We're talking to Mike McKenna here on 101 ESPN. He joins us each and every Friday on behalf of Macadoodles. Mike, when you think about a coach that comes into a team the way that we saw last year with Jim Montgomery, he never actually got to experience what a full training camp would look like. What is the value of that this time around? As somebody that has been through a number of training camps at the NHL level, what kind of value does that bring for Monty to be here this time around?
It can go kind of different directions. When somebody comes in midway through the year, they've just got a ton of juice behind them. You know, it's the wake-up call to everybody on the team. It's a new and different voice. It's a chance to be excited about learning again, which is kind of an undervalued thing in pro sports. Athletes get excited to learn. You know, they like to perfect their craft, and that happens with a new coach. But ultimately, it's, to me, that midseason replacement deal is a quick bump where you really get to see who's got the best capability of pushing a team's when you get the full season. Because now you're coming into camp and you're completely prepared for how you want to lay things out for Jim Montgomery. He's got a complete plan on what he wants to do with setting his systems, with setting the conditioning of his team, with setting lines in practice, power play. I think it gives the team an extra 10%. It's not a magic bullet. It doesn't make the team win the Stanley Cup immediately next year. But even just from having Monty back at the start of the season, for me, it puts this team 10% better, which should put them firmly into a playoff spot. And I think that the team's thinking the same way.
Mike, bigger hockey question, and I know everyone around the hockey world was talking about the Connor McDavid comments of, you know, not really looking at signing a contract yet, kind of wanting to see how it plays out. Where do you think this goes in terms of McDavid, but also if you're the Edmonton Oilers?
I think the Oilers are nervous no matter what here. Until he's got contract on his desk with a pen on it and that big white house of his up there, like I'd be real nervous, man. Like at some point, a pro athlete that's as good as Connor McDavid has to win a championship. His career will never be complete. He'll never be considered in the same echelon as Gretzky and Lemieux and Orr and Hasek and Brodeur, just the greats. He won't be in that group if he doesn't win a Stanley Cup. And I'd be nervous about it from their perspective, because if Connor really, really, really wanted to be an Oiler, this deal would be done immediately. It'd already be done. If his heart among hearts says, I'm an Oiler and I'm going to will this team to a Stanley Cup no matter what, this deal would be done now. So that shred of doubt as an Oilers front office for me and his fans is going to have me on edge. Now, from Connor's perspective, he knows he's going to get paid. He knows they're going to put line mates with him if they can. He knows he's going to have Leon Draisaitl, others there. I think you got to look, though, and say, is Edmonton really the best chance? And if I'm him, deep down in my heart, I don't know if I can say that, because I think I'd be going straight to Dallas or Florida or Tampa or any of these cities that seem to be leading the charge. St. Louis, right? Connor McDavid would love to come to St. Louis. He should. I don't know why he wouldn't.
Free
I
Revs.
would. I love it here. I absolutely, Connor, I love St. Louis. Let me tell you about Grant's Farm and the children you're going to raise someday.
Make
you know?
your pitch, Mike. Make your pitch.
Send it to him.
And Grant's Farm, I mean, the Wild Bird Sanctuary. You ever driven through Lone Elk? We got good stuff here. Okay, I don't know if a Range Rover or whatever.
Have you ever seen Macadoodles, Mike? I mean, come on.
I know. I mean, can you imagine like Connor driving a Maserati or something through Lone Elk? Dude, those bison, they're going to be enamored with it. But no, I mean it, man. I really think that there's doubt here. I don't think this deal gets done. I don't think it's a slam dunk. I think there's a very good chance of it. But if the start of the season doesn't look good and they start grinding again, I think all bets are off with Connor McDavid.
I like that. And
Blues
Team
second.
I mean it. I
Canada.
totally mean it. He has to win.
Doug
He
Armstrong.
has to win a Stanley Cup.
Blues
you know?
second line center in 2026, Connor McDavid. I'm looking forward to it.
Hey, I mean, who's the number 2 center in that scenario? You know, is it McDavid or is it
Well, that's
Robert
what I was
Thomas?
saying. It was McDavid. Oh. Blues second line center, Connor McDavid.
Sorry, man. That's just not. Thomas will become a winger again.
If they could pull that off, man, I'm not in any way suggesting or trying to plant a seed that Connor's coming to St. Louis, but I really do think this is a guy. This is a guy who needs something different, though. If it doesn't work in the next year or two, like he's got to move on and do something different.
Mike McKenna joins us each and every Friday on behalf of the great folks over at Macadoodles. Mike, tell the fine listeners right now what they can anticipate from Macadoodles this weekend.
Well, we are rolling into August. We're having Labor Day. We've still got a raffle out right now for some Old Fitzgerald 9-year bourbon that's available. If you buy a bottle of our Larceny Barrel Cook, you get a chance to enter that raffle to purchase it for $149.97, which sounds like a lot, but for that bottle, it's going on the secondary market for 3 times as much. It's pretty good. And I tell you what, we only have about 35 entries, so you could end up having a 1 in 13, 1 in 14 chance to get one of those bottles. Otherwise, we've got a lot of cool things going on in the tasting room and wine. We've had a couple barrel picks come into our store here, and we are now about to enter Oktoberfest and pumpkin season. We've got a ton of them on the shelf already. We just got in Yingling Oktoberfest. We also found out that all those fans of O'Fallon Brewing Pumpkin, it's coming back. It's not going to be under O'Fallon, but the people behind it are making it still. I'll give you a little tip on it that I can't say who, but it will be back. I know there's a ton of fans out there, and we're going to be absolutely juiced on those beers. So come see it. We got more barrel picks coming. We're at the corner of Bryan and Feisey Road, just north of the Page Extension in St. Charles County out in Dardenne Prairie. And I'm here 9 to 5, boys, Tuesday to Saturday. So come say hi.
That is Mike McKenna. You can find him over at Macadoodles. You can also find him every Friday here on BK and Ferrario. Mike, appreciate the time as always, man. We'll talk with you again next week.
Can't wait. Can't wait to be in person, actually. Talk to you then.
That's right. Mike McKenna. Appreciate him as always here on BK and Ferrario. We actually have a couple of weeks in a row where we're both here on a Friday.
I know. Both BT and Mike. You're welcome.
You weren't listening when I said that he would be a second line center here in St. Louis.
No,
right?
I wasn't. No,
Okay.
Well, it was because I was thinking of the question, because what Mike said, like McDavid has to win or he's going to go somewhere else to be in the same realm as like Lemieux and Crosby and all them. My thought process was, Does he get to be in the same light as those guys because he has to go somewhere else to win a Stanley Cup and he doesn't win it for Edmonton? Because like Crosby never won anywhere else. He won it for Pittsburgh. Lemieux never won anywhere else. Won it for Pittsburgh.
I think once you win it,
maybe
you can still be viewed in that same light. Because he's not the reason they haven't won it. He's put up historically great seasons.
But if you go to Dallas or Florida to have to win, I don't know.
Does that change things in the NHL?
Little
it does in
LeBron
the
Jamesy
NBA.
to me.
I don't know if that actually changes the perspective though in the NHL.
I was just thinking of it when he said it.
Because he's already an all-time great.
Oh, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. There's no question. But it's just like when I look at the guys that did it, they did it with the teams that they didn't have to like go out there and go be a part of a super team to win it. They just were a part of the team that were there and they carried them there. Now, some of those teams were super teams already. Like Pittsburgh was super team, but that's also.
Do you view Matthew Tkachuk as lesser than because he had to go to Florida? He couldn't get it done in Calgary?
No, but when he went to Florida, I didn't really know if they were already a super team. Like, I felt like they continued to build the super.
President's Trophy team.
No, what I'm saying is, like, he didn't go there and it was like, oh, he's going there to win the Stanley. Like, they had pieces, but they added more to it once they got Tkachuk that made him that super team. If that makes any sense. Because, like, he was on a super team. He was on a super team in Calgary at the time. What I'm saying is, like, they had Barkov, who was an incredible player. They had Reinhart, but Reinhart was coming off of the year in Buffalo to where he wasn't that great, that they were unsure. And then Tkachuk got there. It wasn't viewed as, like, let's say McDavid goes to Dallas, and it's like, or McDavid goes to Florida. They already got a Stanley Cup contending team.
Florida, I would set aside. Florida, definitely. That would be like when you saw, like, I don't think Florida can do that. They don't have the money to be able to make it work. But that would be similar to, like, Kevin Durant going to Golden State. That would be the only comparison, that point that I have for that. But for basically any other team in the NHL, I mean, that's what Tkachuk did. Dude, like, I think we're underselling how good Florida was. Florida was a President's Trophy team that traded a couple of very good players for the piece that they believed would put them over the top. If Dallas did this, or if Colorado did this, whoever it is, like, that would be the equivalent to what Florida did to be able to bring Matthew Tkachuk in. And I don't look at Matthew Tkachuk as lesser than because he needed good players around him to be able to win the ultimate prize. Dude, everybody does. In the NHL, everybody needs help. It is a team game. So I would say the same thing is true in baseball, right? Like, if you're Shohei Ohtani, I don't think that it represented him poorly. It represented the Angels poorly, that they couldn't get to the playoffs with one of the best players that I've ever seen play baseball. He gets to the Dodgers, and we see, if you surround him with the requisite talent, that guy can help you win a World Series, obviously. So I would view it similarly in that regard for somebody like Connor McDavid. If he was coming up short because his own performance was falling short and he was seen as a choke artist in the playoffs, that I would feel differently about. And then I would say, all right, you had to go somewhere else because you kept failing in the postseason on your own accord. It's been the goalie that's been letting him down in Edmonton.
Amen to that.
All right, coming up next, how often does it work out for teams that pick in the top 10 as often as the Cardinals potentially could over the last few seasons? We'll talk about that next year on 101 ESPN. With Alex and T-Bone on BK. Yesterday, we did a new edition of the Redbird Report. If you want to check that out, you can find it over on youtube.com/101ESPN STL. You can always get that wherever your podcasts are as well if you prefer to have the audio version. You can also check out over there the latest Last Minute Blues podcast. They have a new episode for you guys this week as well. Alex, on that podcast, I talked with T-Bone about some research that I did for the pod. I wanted to share it with you as well because I'm curious your thoughts on this. So I looked up from 2017 to 2020, that's a 4-year span, how teams accumulated talent that drafted in the top 10 or so in 3 of those 4 years. For most of these, it's 3 consecutive top 10 picks. There's a few of them that are slight outliers, though, that I'd funge it up a little bit. But I've got, I think it's 7 teams here, Alex. I wanted to pass along these players and how they perform and then get your thoughts on what it means for the Cardinals. And the reason that I did this, Cardinals have already had back-to-back seasons with a top 10 pick. There's a pretty good chance that they're going to pick in the top 10 again in 2026.
As long as they don't screw it up.
And the idea is, hey, when you have top 10 picks, at least in theory, you're getting some serious talent. That could change the trajectory of your franchise. I wanted to look up how real that is. Like, does it actually come to fruition the way that you'd expect, or does this fail more often than not? So, the teams that did this from 2017 to 2020. The White Sox did it.
Oh.
They had Jake Berger in 2017, Nick Madrigal in 2018, Andrew Vaughn in 2019, and Garrett Crochet in 2020. Alex, 0 of those players remain with the White Sox in 2025.
And I think only one of them have become, like, elite.
Garrett Crochet is the only one that really worked out.
Now, Vaughn looks like that now with Milwaukee. I don't think it's going to stay that way, but it's right now it is.
So, the White Sox, first one spectacular, did not go well. They have entered a new version of the rebuild. The Tigers did this in 2018, 19, and 20. They had Casey Mize, Riley Green, and Spencer Torkelson. Now, it took a while on Torkelson, but he's basically what you kind of hope Nolan Gorman could eventually become. Riley Green has been a really good player for them. He's probably like the closest thing to a face of the franchise on the position player side that they have. And then Casey Mize has been I
don't know if you call it a bust, but he's definitely not what you thought he was with the top 10 pick.
A disappointment for the number 1 overall selection in 2018. I would say all things considered, it has worked out for the Tigers, but that's about the lowest possible outcome that you would hope for with these 3 picks.
But also you have to call it like it is. The reason it's worked out for them was because they found Tarek Skubal in the 9th round.
100%.
Like, that doesn't work out. We're talking about them probably more in line with the White Sox if they don't go out there and find the diamond in the rough.
Or they're probably more similar to like the Orioles, where they've got some pretty good players, but they don't have the pitching.
And they're probably going to be back in that rebuild soon.
Exactly. The Padres did this. How about this, Alex? The Padres in 2017, 18, 19, and 20 picked 3rd, 7th, 6th, and 8th.
How is that possible?
I know. I thought the same thing.
Possible?
Preller's first try at the whole, like, hey, I'm going to trade for everything failed spectacularly.
Yeah, okay.
It was headlined by Eric Hosmer.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
I remember that.
His players that he selected, God, he's good at this. Mackenzie Gore, Ryan Weathers, C.J. Abrams, and Robert Hassel. 3 of those 4 ended up headlining the trade for this guy named Juan Soto. So I would say it worked out.
And both have been studs.
They were able to acquire a generational player for a year and a half for talent that they ended up selecting in the top 10. The Reds, they acquired Hunter Green, Jonathan India, and Nick Lodolo. I would say that's a win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 of those 3 have been really good for them. The third, Jonathan India, had some really good moments in the first few seasons.
And you traded him and you got something back.
Exactly.
I'd say it's mostly a win because you landed Hunter Green. Like, if you took Hunter Green and replaced him with, I don't know, Casey Mize,
it would be more similar to the Tigers.
Yeah.
And what they got.
But once again, it only works if you also have Ellie De La Cruz as the international free agent that you signed. Like, I'm starting to sense a trend here.
All right. The Braves, 17, 18, 19. They picked 5th, 8th, and 9th. They selected Kyle Wright. He had 1 good season. Carter Stewart, you might not know who that is. And Shane Langoliers, who's finally kind of figuring it out at the major league level.
That one was a bust.
The Giants, 18, 19, and 20. They selected 2nd, 10th, and 13th. They got Joey Bart, Hunter Bishop, and Patrick Bailey. Man, they kept trying for those catchers, and not once did it work out.
Don't draft catchers.
The Orioles, they selected in 2018, 19, and 20, Grayson Rodriguez, Adley Rutschman, and Heston Kierstad. I would say Grayson Rodriguez has been hit and miss, but good when healthy. Rutschman has been, a good player, but certainly not what they expected. And Heston has been a nothing burger for them. So I would say that also didn't work out. Alex, 3 of the 7 have gone well. And of those 3, I would say 1 was a smashing success. And that was because they were able to trade them for a generational star in Juan Soto. What does this mean? What does this tell you about where the Cardinals are at and them putting all of their eggs in the top 10 draft pick
just
category?
Listening to all of those, it tells me that the picks don't matter. You have to surround the picks with talent. You have to surround them with money. Like, go through that list. The teams that didn't spend money were bad. Like, the Baltimore Orioles were bad. The White Sox were bad. Like, you did the San Francisco Giants, I guess, are an anomaly, but they're kind of like
the Giants went, wow, this was so bad, we had to spend money.
But then they're also like always the bridesmaid, never the bride. They couldn't land the big-time free agent that they wanted to make them good.
They tried Ohtani.
Yeah, they always failed with it. But like the Atlanta Braves, they were fine with failing on those because they were really good in the other areas in terms of drafting later.
They cheated to get Ronald Acuna Jr., and they went out there in the international free agent market and got Ozzie Albies.
Yeah, and then Austin Riley was late in the draft. But the other one, I'm trying to remember who it was. Oh, the Padres. Like, they nailed those, and they could trade for Juan Soto. Why? Because they spent money on Manny Machado, and they found Fernando Tatis Jr. So really, this is good, but it's not going to be good enough to pull you out of the dumpster that you've been in for the last 5 years.
Wait, none of the players that the Padres selected are still with their organization. 3 of the 4 were traded in the deal that they acquired Juan Soto in, and then Ryan Weathers was also traded.
And a
he
lot
was
of those
traded to the Miami Marlins in 23. And he's been a good pitcher when healthy, but
what did they get from Miami for him?
Was that the closer?
Oh, and the Tanner Scott deal?
It might have been. That was 23, so that would have been 2 years ago. I'll have to check.
And
that might be right.
In a lot of those scenarios, too, like we're also talking about the reason those teams are successful, whether it was spending money, but they also found their star late in the draft. Tarek Skubal, Jackson Merrill. I don't know how late he was in the draft. Was he like second round?
He may have been first.
Austin Riley was late in the first round. Ellie De La Cruz was the international free agent market. Like, all the stars weren't drafted in the first round.
Padres got Garrett Cooper and Sean Reynolds in that deal. So hasn't worked out as well.
Yeah, nobody really won that trade.
So basically what you've just told me is J.J. Weatherholt and Liam Doyle are not going to be good.
Well, I think it's a reminder of, the Cardinals would always use the excuse of, hey, we don't draft in the top 10. It's why we can't find the talent. And I'd always point to another organization that'd be with them and go, the Dodgers are doing this. But the other reminder is, hey, man, just because you are in the top 10, this is another latest reminder. You know what the draft is? It's like throwing darts on a dartboard, right? Odds are you're not hitting the bullseye. Odds are maybe you get kind of close. It is a 50-50 proposition of maybe you end up with a guy that ends up being a stud, or you end up with a guy like some of those names on that list. Like Patrick Bailey's done nothing for the San Francisco Giants. There were a couple names on there that weren't really that great of big leaguers. That is in the range of outcomes, even for top 10 picks. So these organizations that sell you on, hey, it's worth doing the whole rebuilding thing, or in the Cardinals because, hey, we're going to do the whole homegrown talent, and we're going to get these 3 top 10 picks here, and we're really going to build this thing up from within. Okay, but it's like scratching off a lottery ticket. Odds are it's probably not going to work out.
I'd say it's about 50-50 in the top 10. I mean, you look back at those players that we talked about 50% of the time it works out for their respective team. How many of those actually become the star that the Cardinals are craving? I mean, how many stars did I just read off?
I think 2.
You could argue
3.
Riley Green, maybe C.J. Abrams.
Gore.
Mackenzie Gore is close to that level. Hunter Green definitely would be at that level. Is that the end of the list?
Yeah, I think it's just Green. I think it's the 2 Greens.
And you could make an argument.
I think Mackenzie Gore is.
Gore and Abrams are on the second
got the swing and miss stuff, though, that I feel like
he got an ERA in 4. Like, I ain't going to hear you.
And Abrams is more in the, like, if you consider Mason Wynn a star, you could consider C.J. Gore a star. If you don't consider Mason Wynn, though, I don't know that C.J. Abrams necessarily qualifies for that level of stardom. It's very similar to what you have right now with Mason Wynn. So, the odds of you getting a legitimate superstar, a transcendent star when you select in the top 10, it's rare unless you get that guy in the top 2 to 3. And even then, it's, like a 20% chance. It's really hard to find stars is ultimately the conclusion that I came to with this. Splashback Deuce says over on the YouTube chat, youtube.com/101ESPN means all of them had different outcomes because there are different players, different rosters, same as it would be for the Cardinals, so very little correlation at all. That's just a different takeaway than what I would have from this. I think there is a grander takeaway that you can have based upon the way that the Cardinals are trying to build, or at least what they have said publicly, if they are truly going with this draft and develop model, and you're all in on this, and you don't plan to supplement with legit talent, free agency or trades, etc., you're going to fall short. Nobody has done it this way. There's not a single team in Major League Baseball that you can look at that say, and you could say they won at a really high level despite avoiding the high levels of free agency and big trades where you have to bet on talent. If they're going to go that way, they're going to fail. Nobody does it that way. So I anticipate you'll see at some point they will dip back into the free agent market and they will have to make some significant trades in order to make this thing what they want it to be. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll hit the rewind. But next, you give us 4 different options. We'll tell you which one's got to go here on BK and Ferrario.
Tanner Hendrickson here to tell you about DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, which is coming soon to the Show Me State. Later this football season, you'll be able to bet same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more right here in Missouri. Whether you're backing Kansas City to dominate on Sundays or sweating your hockey picks, DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you want to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when DraftKings Sportsbook goes live in Missouri, you'll be betting from home with the top-rated sportsbook trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and ready to deliver the action like never before. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use my code TANNER now to gear up for launch in Missouri and be first in line for exclusive promos and can't-miss offers. That's code TANNER in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook, subject to regulatory licensing requirements. Tanner Hendrickson here with a SportsCenter update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Cardinals took down the Pirates yesterday 4-1. They are back in action tonight. So they start a 3-game set at the Cincinnati Reds. 5:40 will be first pitch. Matthew Liberatore will be on the mound for St. Louis. And the Cardinals making a couple of call-ups. According to reports, they'll be bringing up Cesar Prieto and also calling up Jimmy Crooks as Pozo and Alec Burleson head to the IL. And Illinois kicks off its football season tonight at 6:30 when they take on Western Illinois. This SportsCenter update is brought to you by Soligo Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
All right, real quick before we get to One's Gotta Go, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for One's Gotta Go. You give us 4 options, we'll tell you which one's got to go on BK and Ferrario. It was just announced that Boston has released Walker Buehler. Walker has been really bad this year. And walks, no pun intended, have been a big part of his issue. He is walking the world. He has allowed about 4.5 per 9 innings. That's a really bad ratio, especially when his strikeout rate has plummeted to 7 strikeouts per 9 innings. There's back-to-back seasons now that he's been bad at the major league level, and before that, he was hurt. So he has not been good in Major League Baseball since 2022.
Other than the playoffs.
Yeah. Alex, I would try it.
Hell yeah.
Rest of this season, get him in here for a month. September call-ups. He could be the guy that you bring up here that's your extra pitcher, and get him a month to work with Dusty. See if they can fix anything. If the answer is no, all right, fine. You clean break, go a step your ways. This offseason, he goes somewhere else. But you get a month of information to find out where he's at. You look at the way that his stuff profiles. Javier Assad is one of the comparisons. Mitch Keller's one of the comparisons. I still believe in Walker Buehler once he figures out his command issues. I'd give it a try.
Yeah, I absolutely would give it a try. I mean, what's the harm in signing him? It goes poorly and you walk away in a month. But the positives outweigh the negatives in terms of, hey, first of all, you can get one of these guys out of the rotation for the rest of the way. And second of all, man, if you untap something, well, now you got a 31-year-old pitcher that could be at least a number 2 in a rotation for you next year. I would take a shot on it. It's what the good teams typically do.
All right, go ahead.
I would say I don't think Buehler's fixable, but I would still give it a try, right? Like, why not? You got to come. Somebody's got to start eating innings for this rotation. Why not just bring him in here?
From the 314, One's Gotta Go. Brisket, pork, ribs, or chicken. Out of those, if I'm doing grilling, smoking, something like that, I'd probably say chicken's the one that's got to go, actually.
No way.
And chicken's the one that I eat the most often, but out of these 4, special occasion, I'd go chicken's got to go.
I get rid of the ribs. I can do so much with the chicken.
Really?
The ribs, I've never been a ribs guy.
I would get rid of pork out of all of it.
Pulled pork?
Oh, man,
Yeah.
no, the pulled
I like
pork's
pulled
great.
I love pulled pork, but I like brisket better.
It's actually the only kind of pork that I enjoy.
Really?
Otherwise, like pork steaks, I'm
No
out.
pork loin?
I love
No.
pork steaks, love
See,
pork
I'm doing
loin.
pork loin tonight.
Yeah.
Love a good pork
I got a
loin.
brisket on the smoker right now, actually.
Love to see it.
Birthday brisket.
One's got to go. Lunch meat edition. We'll get into that here in a minute. Bologna. Braunschweiger?
Braunschweiger. Ooh.
What the hell is
I'm
that?
not familiar with that.
Ugh.
Prosciutto or salami?
Braunschweiger. It's disgusting.
What is it?
It's literally just a lump of meat.
Huh,
My mom used to eat it. It's like cold sausage essentially. I think that's what it is.
This looks gross. Yeah, I'm good.
Well, guess what? We found a punishment. BK's got to eat an entire loaf of Braunschweiger before the end of the show.
Oh, dude, there's some sausages that I'm just not into.
Yeah, my mom used to eat it like on sandwich.
Don't you dare.
My mom used to cut it off in like chunks and put it on a sandwich and eat it.
I'll get rid of it just because I don't know what it is.
It's disgusting. I think
even
it
the
sounds like a
bologna,
punishment.
Especially on a sandwich.
Bologna's really good. I like bologna.
A fried bologna sandwich?
I just
Smoked
like it.
bologna's really good. You ever tried that?
If you eat a bologna by itself, it's nasty. If you put it with like turkey and then like some type of dressing on it,
T-Bone cooks his fake imitation
his
crab
fake
meat.
crab meat.
I'm that way with bologna.
Yeah, I can eat it cold.
From the 314, one's got to go. Mustard, ketchup, barbecue sauce, or buffalo sauce. Easy for me. Ketchup's got to go.
Yeah, I don't put ketchup on anything anymore. It's nasty.
Well, it was mustard, ketchup, buffalo sauce. What was the other
Barbecue
one?
sauce.
Barbecue sauce. Ooh. Yeah, I guess it is
I
ketchup.
at least use mustard. Like when I eat hot dogs, I'll just go
don't know
mustard, or I put it in ingredients. I don't use ketchup for
I
anything.
gotta have ketchup to dip my fries in, but I guess I'll just get rid of fries in this situation.
I'll do
Fries with
ranch,
buffalo.
barbecue sauce, buffalo sauce. I'll do any of that.
No.
I actually know what a good one is. You do like some mayo and ranch mixture.
Oh, that sounds
really
awful.
good for your ranch or with your
One's
fries.
got to go. Movie category: action, comedy, drama, or sci-fi.
Sci-fi. I don't like sci-fi films. Never have.
I'd give it a comedy.
I was about to say, I think we talked about this previously. They're not really making comedies the way that they used
No,
to.
but-
So I would probably get, if this is just like moving forward, I'd get rid of
I
it.
thought this was just in general because you'd lose too many good ones.
No doubt.
Yeah, I have a tough time finding a comedy I really like. So this one is easy for me. Comedies
Would you
go.
consider Marvel sci-fi or action?
I almost say
Guess
they're like
more
the,
sci-fi.
yeah. I'd almost say they're more just in their own category of comic books. But
Yeah.
Because I don't think I could put it as sci-fi.
yeah, I
All
would
right.
say yeah.
From the 314, one's got to go. Prince, Michael Jackson. We're just talking about the music. Michael Jackson, Bruno Mars, or Justin Timberlake.
Prince.
I think this is very easy, and it's Justin Timberlake.
What?
I like JT, but he's not on the same category as those other three.
Yeah, Prince.
I would probably get rid of Prince as well. I don't really know his stuff that well.
I like 2 of his songs, and that's about it.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line.
The one that goes, I don't know what song that is.
Let's see here. Any others? Breakfast, lunch, dinner, or midday snacks?
Considering I'd never eat lunch.
I would agree. I think lunch is the one that's got to go.
I used to say breakfast. Breakfast was something I
love
never
breakfast.
ate, but now I eat breakfast because I don't eat lunch.
I used to didn't like breakfast as much. Now I would say lunch because it's all like the same stuff, right? Sandwich, lunch meat, leftovers. And I hate leftovers.
Oh, I hate leftovers too.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? My
It's
wife's
something-
that way. I love leftovers.
It's something
I'm
that
eating
I-
leftovers for lunch today. We went to Saucy yesterday. I'm going to have some pasta for lunch today.
Saucy.
It's
What is that?
It's Fratelli's. It's one of their sister restaurants. So they opened it up out in St. Charles. It's homemade pasta every day. It's actually pretty good.
It's something that I used to
Quick, easy.
hate, but now when you live on a budget and you've got 3 kids, everybody's eating their damn leftovers.
Oh, yeah. Leftovers
The
are
fridge
great.
is cleaned
no,
out before
gross.
I go to the grocery store.
Yeah. End of the week. What do we got?
Just doesn't taste the same.
Find a meal together.
Yep.
Coming up next, the Rewind here on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. If you guys missed anything from today's show, I thought it was a pretty good one. Check it out on the podcast page, 101ESPN.com. The free 101 ESPN app is where you go to find it. You can also find the latest edition of the Last Minute Blues podcast. The latest edition of the Redbird Report is over there as well. And those podcasts are all sponsored by
Schaefer Door Company.
101 ESPN app is free to download. Super easy to use, and it is sponsored by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. I would give today's show, Alex, 8.1. 8.1 overall.
Thinking 8.1.
See, we're on the same page here.
Was thinking maybe a little too much Mizzou talk, but, we got through.
Maybe I'd give it a 3.5 for Alex Ferrario's age. 35, right?
No.
34? Damn, I was really
It's
close.
35. I just wanted to see him be wrong.
I was going to say a word I can't say on the radio.
No, you can say that. You just got to abbreviate it.
How you feeling today, man?
Feel 35?
You feel...
Well, my body felt 35 when I rolled out of bed, but no. Birthdays just aren't that interesting anymore for me.
True to that.
You guys doing anything tonight?
Just family night at home.
Yeah.
I got a brisket on the smoker.
You going to break out some good whiskey or anything?
Probably. We got. I'm going to start a fire pit tonight because I think it's supposed to be like in the 70s and do some s'mores with the girls.
Oh, there you go.
And I got an inflatable projector screen in my backyard that I got off of Amazon, and so we'll probably. I'll watch a little.
Kid deals, right?
You're darn tootin' I did.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch a little bit of college football on it, and then probably watch a movie with the girls before bed.
Love it. What's the movie choice?
I don't know. That's the hard part because mine's obviously the grown-up version of stuff, and then they want to watch a kids movie. So I don't know. They're in the Halloween.
So Frozen again it is.
No, God, no. They're in Halloween mode right now, so we might watch some type of Halloween film. They were watching old school Mickey Mouse Halloween episodes this morning before I left, so they're in that
Mickey
vibe.
Mouse Clubhouse is big.
They came out with new
winner
episodes
right
of it right now.
It's a
did?
big winner.
Yeah,
at
my
our house
girls
right
are obsessed with that, and then they're into Little Einsteins on Disney Plus. That's the next one that we're watching. Little Einstein. Little Einsteins. Yep, that's what they love.
I remember that song.
Well, happy birthday,
Thanks,
man.
buddy. Appreciate it. Golfing
Venmo
at
will be
7:30
sent your way
tomorrow.
shortly.
Yeah.
Make sure that we get a drink on me and T-Bone for you.
Okay. Well, you did get me a big thing of Pink Whitney a couple years ago. I was hoping for
Yeah,
that.
I'm just going to Venmo you this time around. You can get whatever you want, man.
Man, this is a crappy birthday, man.
I mean, I prefer it personally.
And you put some effort into it. You know what? Give me the third pick in our fantasy
At least
football
you
draft,
remembered
and
your
we're
birthday,
in.
Okay.
I can't do that.
That's
I can't
true.
do
He
that.
did forget your birthday.
Yeah.
I
And I
didn't.
worked with him that day.
I didn't. I was off, and I
it's
still
not our
sent the
fantasy
message.
draft coming up.
I think we should
Don't
pick.
dodge the
It's on Monday.
Yeah, you're a bad friend, man.
What?
You forgot his birthday.
They're not on purpose. How do people
That's
keep track
even
of each other's
worse.
birthdays nowadays?
Facebook?
On
I
purpose
don't get
would
on
be
Facebook,
better.
like at all. The only thing I do on Facebook is put out our social stuffs and then
Maybe
leave.
you
We
should
do
check
that
the
every
screen
day.
when you walk in the break
Yeah,
room
the break room's got my
and see the
birthday
birthdays on there.
Also,
Also,
barely go in the break room other than get my water, come
Well,
back
why
to
don't
the
you
room.
look at the TV screen from now on?
No.
why don't you ask
I
around?
put my head down and go to work, man.
I'm sure you do.
Well, listen, I wish you a happy birthday. I'm going to send the Venmo.
I just got
What
3
do you
texts
want
from people
me?
that said happy birthday, so
See?
apparently they didn't know either. I always love how that one works.
All right. I don't think we need to really get into the Cardinals. They do
No.
have some big debuts this weekend. That's a real thing. Congratulations to Jimmy Crooks, Cesar Prieto. Both have been called up by the Cardinals. Alec Burleson on the IL. It sounds like Joe Pozo is expected to go on the IL this weekend as well. So Cardinals call up a couple of guys. We'll see them this weekend. We'll talk about that certainly on Tuesday. Big night last night for Mizzou. Beau Pribula, fantastic debut for him. We'll keep our eye on the kicking situation, the offensive line. Not great night for the O-line, but scale of 1 to 10, I'm a little concerned, but not terrified of that yet. T-Bone, your Illini are in action tonight against Western Illinois. What's the number one thing? Kind of like Mizzou, right? This can't learn necessarily great things, but you can learn bad things. What's the thing that you're most interested in tonight for Illinois?
I'm going to see if they have a deep threat tonight. Can they still be explosive even without Pat Bryant? That is the one thing that I'm fascinated by, because that's what you learned early on last year when they played, I think it was Eastern Illinois. It was, wow, Pat Bryant just won like 3 50-50 balls on 20-plus yard plays, and that's when I knew, okay, this offense has a chance to be explosive. The running game, I'd like to see it look pretty good tonight as well, just because I've got some questions about it. But the number one thing to lock in on is, okay, who's the wide receiver that's stepping up now that Pat Bryant is gone? Because that is their biggest question going into this year.
Alex, Texas versus Ohio State is tomorrow. You'll be able to hear that right here on 101 ESPN. We'll also be able to watch LSU versus Clemson this weekend. And before we get back, Notre Dame versus Miami. That'll be on Sunday night. Out of those three, which one are you most intrigued by?
Probably Texas and Ohio State, because Ohio State and Texas being the top 2 teams but also with the Arch Manning and the uncertainty on Ohio State's side, that's the one that I think you're going to get a really good telling on what college football's top teams look like this year.
We appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in today, as we always do here on BK and Ferrario. Enjoy yourself this weekend. Can't ask for better weather on a Labor Day weekend. I'll be at the Cardinals game on Monday.
Bad choice, man.
So if any of you are heading out there, it'll be you, me, and 10,000 of our best friends on Monday
about
afternoon.
5,000.
The Cardinals versus the A's. If you see me, please stop by, say hello.
He'll buy you a beer.
I'll potentially buy you a beer as well.
No, he will.
We'll see you out there at the Cardinals game. For Alex, wish him a happy birthday if you have not done so already. He's turning 35. That's Tanner Hendrickson. I'm Brandon Kiley. We will talk to you guys on Tuesday at 11 a.m. The Fast Lane's coming up next here on 101 ESPN.